Chapter 705. After a long period of darkness, Qin Yu gradually regained consciousness. In a daze, he sensed that there were more than 10 living beings around him. Is this a human? No, he has the demonic aura. Is he not a pure human? He is so severely injured. Was he attacked by a wild beast? He is lucky to be able to survive after encountering a wild beast. Miss, what should we do with him? Since we have encountered him, let's bring him back. After hearing the discussion, Qin Yu felt that he was lifted up by someone and left shakily. While swaying, Qin Yu slowly fell asleep again. Although he could not sense it clearly, Qin Yu knew that his condition was very serious. It was very likely that he had injured his core. After all, he was lucky to be able to escape from the spatial turbulence. What made Qin Yu feel relieved was that he could still sense the aura of the dragon soul. It seemed that the dragon soul was not in danger, and it seemed to have landed in the same area as him. After an unknown period of time, Qin Yu woke up again. He half sat up, and a house that was covered with fire runes appeared in his sight. The whole house was filled with dense fire, elemental energy. It made one feel as if they were in a furnace. However, the fire elemental energy was very gentle, and there was no sense of violence. The pressure of heaven and earth does not seem to be that strong. After getting out of bed, Qin Yu realized that the pressure of heaven and earth in the void was not at the same level as the pressure of heaven and earth in the realm-crossing sea. Although Qin Yu could not fly in the air, he did not feel like he was being suppressed. Thinking of this, Qin Yu immediately sat down with his legs crossed and sank his consciousness into his body to sense the injuries in his body. The situation was as he had expected before he fainted. His injuries were very serious, and even the foundation of his body was damaged. However, judging from the injuries in his body, it seemed that someone had healed him when he was in a coma. In addition, Qin Yu's cultivation had fallen from the middle stage of heavenly yuan to the martial emperor realm. To Qin Yu, the drop in cultivation was within his expectations, so he wasn't surprised. Furthermore, if he only fell to the martial emperor realm, Qin Yu would soon be able to return to the 9th level of the heavenly law. Creak! At this moment, the flame-like door was pushed open. A fiery red figure walked in. It was a 15 or 16-year-old girl. Her facial features were delicate and pretty, but her eyes were as red as flames. One could even faintly see flames rising from them. Despite her young age, her cultivation was not to be underestimated, as she had reached the 7th layer martial progenitor realm. If he was in the heaven domain, he would definitely be able to look down on his peers. Of course, the reason why the martial Tao of the heaven domain had declined was because the entire heaven domain had been sealed by the immortal art of the battle dragon immortal emperor. As a result, the heavenly origin stage was the limit of the martial path. Naturally, there wouldn't be another genius who could compete with the 10,000 realms. When Qin Yu saw the young girl, he was surprised. Judging from the fiery aura emanating from the girl, he could easily tell that she wasn't a human. How did you wake up so soon? Hui Yuaner was astounded when she saw Qin Yu getting off the bed. With the severity of Qin Yu's injuries, she originally thought that it was extremely likely that Qin Yu would not wake up. Did you save me? Hui Yuaner's voice sounded familiar to Qin Yu, as if he had heard it before he fainted. You were severely injured and unconscious in the desolate ancient mountain range. Our people happened to be collecting herbs there, so we brought you back. Well, Yuana nodded slightly and took out a pill bottle filled with pills. Thanks. Qin Yu expressed his thanks solemnly. He was no longer in the heaven domain. If he had fainted due to his injuries, he might have ended up in the stomachs of the beasts. The desolate ancient mountain range is a forbidden area in the west. Why did you go there alone? Hui Yuaner asked curiously. Venturing into the desolate ancient mountain range alone with a cultivation of the martial monarch realm was no different than courting death. Pardon me for asking, but where is this place? Qin Yu had no idea what the desolate ancient mountain range was. What he needed to do now was to heal his injuries and recover his cultivation. Secondly, he needed to figure out where he was so that he could find the dragon soul. Here, this is the land of the Fire Spirit tribe, located in the flaming Demon Mountain range. Aren't you from the Fire Domain? Hui Yuan asked curiously. She seemed to have recovered from her shock and asked in surprise, I'm not from the fire domain. Indeed, I'm not from the blaze domain. It's just that when I was exploring an ancient ruin, I accidentally triggered a restriction and fell into the blaze domain. Qin nodded slightly. You're from the other domain. Which martial domain are you from? Hui Yuan's eyes lit up with curiosity. Eldest Miss. Just as Qin was about to come up with an excuse, a burly man with a height of 6 feet appeared. The burly man was wearing a blazing armor, and his body emitted a scorching aura. It was as if he would burst into flames at any moment, and even the air was slightly distorted. His cultivation had already reached the heavenly origin stage. Although he was only at the initial stage of the heavenly origin stage, it was clear that the fire spirit tribe had a strong foundation. At the very least, they were at the 9th level of the heavenly path. Uncle Qing, what's the matter? Hui Yuan turned around and asked. The patriarch has something important to discuss with you, Hui Yuan said. Something important? All right. Hui Yuan could only suppress his curiosity and leave the room. Hui Qing followed him, but before she left, she glanced at Qin with obvious vigilance and distrust in her eyes. She had probably appeared so quickly because she had sensed Qin awakening. Qin didn't mind Hui Qing's vigilance. Judging from Hui Yuan's attitude toward Hui Qing should have a high status in the fire spirit tribe. However, Hui Qing's cultivation was only at the initial stage of the heavenly origin stage. As long as Qin recovered his cultivation, there would be no need to worry about any danger. Therefore, after Hui Yuan and Hui Qing left, Qin set up a barrier in the room to block perception. Then, he immediately absorbed pure dragon qi from the ancient seal of the divine dragon into his body to heal his injuries. With the primordial battle dragon art's regenerative secret technique, Qin injuries healed at an astonishing speed. At the same time, in the main hall of the fire spirit tribe. Father, you were looking for me? Hui Yuan stepped into the hall, which was already filled with the upper echelons of the fire spirit tribe. However, the one sitting in the main seat wasn't the patriarch of the fire spirit tribe, Hui Xiao. Instead, it was a white-haired old man in an yin-yang robe with an otherworldly aura. Yuan, come quickly. Greet Senior True Crane. Hui Xiao's smile widened when he saw Hui Yuan. Senior True Crane. Hui Yuan bowed respectfully, but he was a little surprised. Why would this white-haired old man come to the fire spirit tribe? Senior True Crane's true form was a wild crane. His cultivation was at the Heavenly Wheel realm, and he was one of the few Heavenly Wheel realm experts in the Fire Demon Mountain range. Chapter 706. You've reached the martial progenitor realm at such a young age. You're quite talented. After sizing up Hui Yuan, True Crane nodded in satisfaction. Senior Zhenhe, in terms of talent, I'm afraid no one in the younger generation of the Flaming Demon Mountain range can compare to Yuan. Among the fire spirit race, a muscular man with a flaming beard stood up and said with a smile. He was Hui Zhao's younger brother, Hui Quan. Hearing Zhenhe and Hui Quan's words, and seeing how excited Hui Xiao and the others were, Hui Yuan's expression changed slightly. He seemed to have guessed something and became excited. Girl, are you willing to become this old man's disciple? Zhenhe asked Hui Yuan as he stroked his beard. Hui Xiao, Hui Quan, and the other higher-ups of the fire spirit race all looked at Hui Yuan. Judging from their expressions, they couldn't wait to nod in Hui Yuan's place. Except a disciple. However, Hui Qing, who had brought Hui Yuan here, had a strange look in her eyes. This disciple is willing. Hui Yuan naturally wouldn't refuse and immediately bowed. Zhenhe was one of the top experts in the Flaming Demon Mountain range. If she could become Zhenhe's disciple, it would be a joyous occasion for both her and the fire spirit race. All right, get up. With your talent, and with this old man's guidance, it is possible for you to join the Beast King Island to cultivate in the future. Zhenhe nodded with a smile. This was his true motive for taking her as a disciple. Beast King Island. Hui Yuan and the other members of the fire spirit race were overjoyed. Beast King Island was one of the top factions in the western part of the Fire Domain. Countless powerful monsters gathered there and were ruled by the Beast King. In the entire western part, only the top of the younger generation had the right to cultivate there. There were thousands of monster cultivators in the flaming Demon Mountain range, and all of them were proud to be able to join Beast King Island. Go and prepare. From today onwards, you'll go out with me to train. Try to meet the requirements when the Beast King Palace recruits disciples. Zhenyi said, "We're leaving today." Hui Yuan'er was stunned. "Senior Zhenyi, isn't this a little too hasty?" Hua Xiao and the others hadn't expected Zhenyi to immediately take Hui Yuan'er away. In 2 years, the Beast King Palace's assessment will be held. If you cannot reach the Emperor realm in 2 years, you will not be eligible to participate in the assessment. If you miss this opportunity, you will have to wait for another 5 years. 2 years plus 5 years. A round trip will take 7 years. After 7 years, even if you pass the Beast King Palace's assessment, with your age, I'm afraid you won't be focused on training anymore. True Crane said, "Yes, I'll go prepare it now." Hui Yuan'er immediately understood what was going on. Hua Xiao and the others immediately sent people to make preparations. Patriarch, the first miss, is engaged to the young patriarch of the demonic bear tribe. The marriage will be held at the end of the year. If the first miss leaves like this, I'm afraid it will be difficult to explain to the demonic bear tribe. At this moment, Hua Qing took a step forward and spoke to Hua Xiao and the others. "That's right. How could I forget about this? We still have a marriage alliance with the demonic bear tribe. If we break the agreement just like that, I'm afraid we'll anger the demon bear tribe. What should we do?" Hearing Hua Qing's words, the members of the fire spirit tribe whispered to each other. Hua Xiao, Hua Quan, and the others also looked troubled. The demonic bear tribe was the overlord of the fire Demon Mountain range. The fire spirit tribe couldn't afford to offend them. Hui Yuan'er, who was originally happy, couldn't help but become gloomy when he heard about the demonic bear tribe. "You have a marriage alliance with the demonic bear tribe?" Even True Crane hesitated when he heard about the demonic bear tribe. It was rumored that the demonic bear tribe's patriarch was about to cross the Heavenly Wheel realm and enter the Calamity realm. True Crane's cultivation was only at the late stage of the Heavenly Wheel realm. Even if the demonic bear tribe's patriarch couldn't enter the Calamity realm, it was enough to suppress him. Hui Yuan'er saw that True Crane was also wary of the demonic bear tribe. Her expression became gloomier, and she sighed softly in her heart. She originally thought that becoming True Crane's disciple could change her fate, but now it seemed that nothing could be changed. "Senior True Crane, how about this? I'll report this matter to the demonic bear tribe and let them choose a date to hold the marriage alliance in advance. After the marriage alliance, you can bring Yuan'er out to train." Hua Xiao tried to make a suggestion. The reason why they had a marriage alliance with the demonic bear tribe was because they didn't have a Heavenly Wheel realm expert in their tribe. They were constantly oppressed by the other powerful demonic bear tribes in the Fire Demon Mountain range. Therefore, they didn't want to offend the demonic bear tribe, but they also didn't want to give up on their relationship with True Crane. With a Heavenly Wheel realm expert as their backer, the Fire Spirit tribe status in the Fire Demon Mountain range would increase by a lot. If that's the case, it's fine, but can't be delayed for too long. True Crane pondered for a while, then nodded slightly in agreement. "We'll send a letter to the demonic bear tribe immediately." Hua Xiao and the others immediately sent someone to inform the demonic bear tribe. The upper echelons of the fire spirit tribe were all busy. Night fell, and a bright moon hung high in the sky. Qin Yu sat cross-legged in the house, and an extremely strong dragon aura boiled around him. One could clearly feel that Qin Yu's aura, which was still weak and chaotic during the day, was now stable and steady. It was even becoming stronger. Roar! In the middle of the night, a faint dragon roar came out of Qin Yu's body. Qin Yu, who had his eyes closed, slowly opened them. A sacred dragon shadow flashed across his eyes. "My injuries are almost healed. In a few more days, I will be able to recover my cultivation." Qin Yu stood up, waved his hand to disperse the barrier in the house, and walked out of the house curiously. This was the first time Qin Yu had come to the outer realm, and he hadn't seen the fire domain yet. Qin Yu jumped to the roof of the house and sized up the land of the fire spirit tribe. The fire spirit tribe was located in a valley, and the houses were built with warm jade stones. But from a number of houses, there didn't seem to be many fire spirit tribe members. There were only a few thousand of them. Outside the valley where the fire spirit tribe was located, there was a mountain range with countless towering ancient trees. At a glance, one couldn't see the end of it and didn't know how big it was. In the air of the entire mountain range, there was a visible light red air flow, as if flames were everywhere. What a strange demonic chi fluctuation. After sizing up the fire demon mountain range, Qin Yu vaguely sensed a special demonic chi fluctuation from the depths of the fire demon mountain range. The demonic chi fluctuation was faintly similar to the dragon blood in Qin Yu's body. Is there a dragon here? This thought came to Qin Yu's mind, and he immediately used a secret technique to sense it. After a while, Qin Yu's eyes lit up. Although he couldn't sense it clearly due to the pressure of heaven and earth, Qin Yu did sense a very weak demonic chi fluctuation from the depths of the fire demon mountain range. This made Qin Yu very excited. If he could refine a dragon, and with the inheritance of the battle dragon immortal king, Qin Yu's cultivation would improve at lightning speed. Chapter 707. Qin Yu retracted his gaze. He planned to explore the depths of the fire demon mountain range tomorrow. However, at this moment, Qin Yu saw a figure standing on a tower a few dozen feet away. A small figure was hugging her knees as she sat helplessly on the top of the tower. She stared blankly at the bright moon in the sky as tears streamed down her delicate face. That figure was Hui Yuan. Hui Yuan seemed to have sensed Qin Yu's gaze. She regained her senses and tilted her head to look in Qin Yu's direction. When she saw Qin Yu, she hurriedly wiped her face and wiped away her tears, as if she was embarrassed to be seen by an outsider. Did something happen to the fire spirit tribe? Qin Yu's expression changed slightly. Hui Yuan seemed to have encountered something big. At this thought, Qin Yu prepared to ask about it. After all, Hui Yuan had saved his life before. But at that moment, Hui Yuan had already leaped down from the tower and disappeared. Seeing this, Qin Yu could only restrain his thoughts and prepare to leave the roof. Chirp! Suddenly, a strange bird's cry came from a mountain range in the distance. The fire demon mountain range was home to many members of the demonic tribe. Qin Yu did not pay much attention to the cries of birds and beasts at night. Swoosh! However, at this moment, a black figure quickly left the fire spirit tribe's territory from a house in the distance. That is, Qin Yu was slightly taken aback. He narrowed his eyes. That person was Hua Qing, whom he had seen during the day. Seeing Hua Qing sneakily leaving and thinking about Hui Yuan from earlier, Qin Yu pondered for a moment and then secretly followed her. Although Qin Yu's cultivation had not recovered and was still at the martial emperor realm, it was not difficult for him to follow Hua Qing, who was only at the early heavenly Yuan stage. In a short moment, Qin Yu followed Hua Qing and left the territory of the fire spirit clan. They arrived before a 10,000-foot tall waterfall. There were already several figures waiting at the waterfall. Those people were also from the demon clan. However, unlike the fire spirit clan, they had extremely powerful demon clan bloodline auras. What's going on? Why did the fire spirit race's higher-ups suddenly change their mind and want to advance the marriage? Seeing Hua Qing's arrival, a middle-aged man with a height and build that was even stronger than Hua Qing asked in a low and muffled voice. They were all from the demonic bear tribe, and they were all at the sky origin stage. True Crane suddenly came and wanted to take Huyin as his disciple. He even planned to take Huyin out to train. That's why the entire fire spirit race changed their minds. Hua Qing said quickly after looking around vigilantly. Zhen, he wants to take Hui Yuan as his disciple? Why does it have to be this time? After the strong middle-aged man heard this, his face turned ugly. They had been planning for so long, and they only had to wait for their ancestor to come out of seclusion before they could take down the fire spirit race and gradually dominate the entire fire demon mountain range. Who would have thought that such an unforeseen event would occur? Is it possible to get the patriarch to come out of seclusion in advance? Huiqing asked. No, it's an important moment for our ancestor to break through to the calamity stage. We can't disturb our ancestor. It seems like we can only carry out our plan to take over the fire spirit race later. The strong middle-aged man said unwillingly. That's right. If our ancestor can break through to the calamity stage, he can also destroy the fire spirit race and obtain their ancestor's supreme secret technique. At that time, he can also dominate the fire demon mountain range. The other members of the demonic bear tribe nodded in agreement. I'm afraid that's not possible. True Crane took Huiyuan as his disciple because he thinks highly of Huiyuan's talent. There's a possibility that she could join the Beast King Island to train. Therefore, Huiyuan will probably only return after 2 years. If we can't get rid of Huiyuan and she really joins the Beast King Island to train, there will be no end of trouble in the future. Huiqing said slowly after shaking his head slightly. This was also the reason why he mentioned the marriage with the demonic bear tribe in the hall during the day. Beast King Island? Is Huiyuan's talent that amazing? If that's the case, it will be troublesome. Even our demonic bear tribe doesn't have any clansmen who can enter the Beast King Island to train. Indeed, almost all the powerful demonic bear tribe experts in the west of the fire domain have gathered on the Beast King Island. Their strength is unfathomable. Any expert that Huiyuan joins can easily destroy us. The Heavenly Yuan realm members of the demonic bear tribe were extremely surprised and kept discussing. I heard that as long as an outstanding genius is recommended to join the Beast King Island, the person who recommended them may also enter the Beast King Island to train. It seems like Zhenhe's goal is also to enter the Beast King Island. The strong middle-aged man seemed to have thought of something, and his face turned even uglier. Therefore, we have to settle this before Huiyuan leaves. Huiqing said in a deep voice. We have to go back and report this matter to the patriarch. The strong middle-aged man and the others looked at each other and couldn't make a decision. The marriage will take place in 5 days. There's not much time left. I will make preparations in the fire spirit race so that I can support you at any time. Huiqing nodded and turned to leave. The Heavenly Yuan realm members of the demonic bear tribe also left without delay. Are they planning to attack the fire spirit race from the inside? After Huiqing and the others left, a figure appeared on a towering ancient tree like a ghost. It was Qinyu. Qinyu didn't know the specific plan of Huiqing and the others, but he had a rough idea. After thinking for a while, Qinyu's figure flashed and disappeared into the night. The next day, are you going out? Qinyu had just left the house when he bumped into Huiyuan. Huiyuan couldn't help but be surprised to see Qinyu brimming with energy overnight. His terrifying recovery ability was even more frightening than a pure demonic bear tribe's. Yes, thanks to Miss Huiyuan's care, my injuries have mostly healed, so I want to go out for a walk. Qinyu nodded slightly. He was going to the depths of the fire demon mountain range to search for the dragon tribe's aura. As for Huiyuan crying last night, Qinyu didn't ask, seeing that Huiyuan didn't want to talk about it. As for Huiqing, Qinyu didn't know how to remind her. Go out for a walk. Although you have the demonic bear tribe's bloodline, you also have the aura of a human. If you wander alone in the fire demon mountain range, you will be targeted by other demonic bears. Huiyuan couldn't help but remind him. The demonic bear tribe gathered in the fire demon mountain range and killed each other on a daily basis, not to mention Qinyu, who was half demonic bear tribe. Don't worry, although my cultivation isn't high, I still have many life-saving methods. Qinyu smiled faintly. Judging from the words of the demonic bear tribe members last night, the top existences in the fire demon mountain range were probably at the calamity stage. Otherwise, the demonic bear tribe wouldn't be so confident that they could dominate the fire demon mountain range when their ancestor broke through to the calamity stage. Chapter 708. This is a map of the flaming demon mountain range. It's marked with the territories of the various demon clans, as well as the territories of some dangerous, desolate beasts. Keep an eye on it and don't wander around. Seeing Qin Yu so persistent, Hui Yuaner was a bit helpless. He took out a map of the Fire Demon Mountain Range from his spatial ring and handed it to Qin Yu. Map? Miss Yuaner, does your clan have a map of the Fire Domain and beyond? Qin Yu's eyes lit up when he saw the map. If he could get a map of the Outer Realms, he wouldn't have to go to the Snow Domain to find Fairy Shualon or the Mystic Domain to save his master. We have a map of the Fire Domain, but we don't have a map of the Outer Realms. However, we have an ancient book in our clan that records many rumors about the Outer Realms. Come with me. Hua Yuana led Qin Yu to the library of the Fire Spirit clan. There, they found a map of the Fire Domain and a thick ancient book. From the map, they could see that the flaming Demon Mountain Range where the Fire Spirit clan lived was only a small, remote mountain range in the western part of the Fire Domain. Beyond the mountain range was the vast Fire Domain. From the size of the flaming Demon Mountain Range on the map, they could tell that the Fire Domain was larger than the 9 prefectures of the Heaven Domain. However, it was still smaller than the 9 prefectures of the Heaven Domain and the Outer Realm Demon Clan combined. Overall, it was probably only 2/3 of the entire Heaven Domain. As for the thick ancient book, it did indeed record the Fire Domain and the Martial Domain beyond it. The Fire Domain belonged to the Great Spirit World, one of the 10 Great Spirit Worlds. Its strength was at the bottom of the Great Spirit World. Qin Yu knew about the 10 Great Spirit World from the memories of immortal King Zhanlong. The Martial Domain was divided into 10 Great Spirit Worlds. Each Great Spirit World had thousands or even thousands of martial domains. The Snow Domain. After reading for a long time, Qin Yu narrowed his eyes. He found information about the Snow Domain in the ancient book. The Snow Domain wasn't in the Great Spirit World, but in the All-Heaven World, one of the 10 Great Spirit Worlds. Although he didn't know how far it was from the Fire Domain, since it was in a different world, it naturally wasn't something he could travel to in a short period of time. As for the Xian Domain, perhaps because the ancient book was incomplete, Qin Yu was unable to find it. He could only wait until he left the Fire Spirit race and went to the major factions of the Fire Domain to investigate. By the way, which martial field did you come from? Hui Yuaner was still curious about Qin Yu's background. She, who had always lived in the Fire Spirit race, had at most wandered the lands outside the Fire Demon Mountain Range. He was naturally very interested in the martial domains outside of the Fire Domain. Xian Region. Qin Yu did not mention the Heaven Domain. Judging from the fact that Xing Luo, Blood Demon, Luo Sha Crown Prince, and the others had sneaked into the Heaven Realm to look for Zhanlong Immortal King's succession, the Heaven Realm must be quite famous in the 10,000 Realms world. Qin Yu didn't want to be targeted because of this. After all, whether it was Star Luo, the Rakshasa Crown Prince, or the Blood Demon, they were all people with great backgrounds in other martial domains. Mysterious domain? I've never heard of it before. What kind of world is it? As Hui Yuaner asked Qin Yu curiously, several elders of the Fire Spirit race passed by. First Miss. Those elders all greeted Hui Yuaner. Not only was Hui Yuaner the first Miss of the Fire Spirit race, but she was also True Crane's disciple. More importantly, she was about to marry the monstrous bear race. Her status in the Fire Spirit race was much higher than before. Uncle Qing, 4th elder, 5th elder. Hui Yuaner returned the greeting. Qin Yu's eyes flashed when he saw Hui Qing. Qin Yu had found out Hui Qing's identity from the Fire Spirit race. She was a direct descendant of the Fire Spirit race and had the same grandfather as Hui Yuaner's father. Qin Yu couldn't understand why someone of Hui Qing's status would collude with outsiders to secretly attack the Fire Spirit race. First Miss, you're about to go out with Senior True Crane to train. I'm afraid you won't be able to return for a year or two. You should spend more time with the Patriarch. Hui Qing glanced at Qin Yu. When she saw that Qin Yu's injuries had recovered, a strange light flashed in her eyes. Hui Qing had always been wary of Qin Yu, who had been rescued by Hui Yuaner. Qin Yu, who was only at the Martial Emperor realm, gave her a sense of danger. Uncle Qing is right. Hui Yuaner nodded obediently. Miss Yuaner, Keep this transportation talisman. If you encounter any danger in the future, just crush the ancient talisman and I'll be able to come to your rescue." After Qing and the others left, Qin Yu pondered for a moment and took out a transportation talisman. This transportation talisman was refined by Qin Yu. Even if Qin Yu was halfway across the fire domain, he could still teleport over. All right. Although Hui Yuaner did not know why Qin Yu would suddenly give her a transportation talisman, she did not reject it. Of course, Hui Yuaner did not think that the transportation talisman would be of any use. After all, Qin Yu's cultivation was only at the martial emperor realm. On the other hand, her master True Crane was at the heavenly Yuan realm. The two of them were not on the same level. If there was a danger that even her master could not deal with, Qin Yu would not be able to help. Also, you'd better tell your father and master to be on guard against Qing. Qin Yu, who was about to leave, stopped in his tracks and reminded Hui Yuaner, "Guard against Uncle Qing? What do you mean?" Hui Yuaner was stunned when she heard Qin Yu's words. She frowned and looked at Qin Yu with obvious distrust and suspicion. "Just like what I said, let's go." When Qin Yu saw this, he did not say anything else. He waved his hand and walked out of the Fire Spirit tribe. Qin Yu was not surprised by Hui Yuaner's reaction. After all, he was just a stranger who was coincidentally rescued. On the other hand, Qing was a core member of the Fire Spirit tribe with countless battle achievements. Naturally, Hui Yuaner did not believe Qin Yu when he suddenly told the Fire Spirit tribe to be on guard against Qing. Even if Qin Yu would tell them what he saw last night, it was likely that no one in the Fire Spirit clan would believe Qin Yu. It was even possible that he might end up getting into trouble because of this. That was the reason why Qin Yu merely reminded him and did not explain too much. Hui Yuaner's frown deepened when she saw Qin Yu leave without hesitation. Since Qin Yu came from another region, he should not have any grudges with Qing. If that was the case, why would Qin Yu suddenly tell her father to be on guard against Qing? Did Qin Yu know something, or did Qin Yu have some ulterior motive? This made Hui Yuaner, who was only curious about Qin Yu's background, feel a layer of haze that could not be dispelled. While Hui Yuaner was pondering, Qin Yu had already left the valley where the Fire Spirit tribe was. In the mountain range filled with ancient trees, Qin Yu was as agile as an ape. He quickly leaped between the ancient trees and leaped into the depths of the Fire Spirit mountain range. Whoosh! Suddenly, Qin Yu, who had just landed on an ancient tree, was entangled by an ancient green vine. The ancient vine was as thick as an arm and covered with thin, sharp barbs. There were also mysterious demonic patterns on it. A special demonic aura quickly enveloped the area. Chapter 709. Sucking my blood chi? Qin Yu was able to sense that the barbs on the cyan-colored ancient vine had easily pierced into his skin and were unceasingly devouring his flesh and blood. With the speed of the ancient green vines devouring, Qin Yu's blood would be sucked dry, and he would become a mummy in less than half an incense stick's time. I didn't expect there to be a half-monster in the Fire Demon Mountain range. A sinister laugh sounded. Qin Yu looked up and saw a light green figure emerging from the trunk of the ancient tree. Although the person was in human form, his body was covered in light green tree patterns, and there was still some bark on his face. It seemed that he had not fully transformed. However, his cultivation had already reached the Emperor realm. Ancient Tree Monster. The person with the bark was one of the monster clans in the Fire Demon Mountain range. His original form was an ancient tree spirit. He was one of the top forces in the Fire Demon Mountain range. You actually contain such pure bloodline power. Looks like I'm really lucky today. Boy, which clan are you from? The ancient tree monster grinned, revealing a mouthful of sharp teeth. He looked at Qin Yu ferociously, as if he was looking at an extremely delicious meal. To the ancient tree monster, the pure dragon clan blood in Qin Yu's body was indeed a great supplement. The main dragon vein in Qin Yu's body had reached grade 6 blue-gray dragon vein. To some extent, it was already comparable to the dragon clan. Boom! What answered him was a violent explosion of strength chi. The ancient vine that trapped Qin Yu was directly shattered into dust. Qin Yu's body was surrounded by phantoms of dragon qi, as if thousands of dragons were worshipping him. His aura was astonishing. How can this be? The ancient tree monster's expression changed drastically. A green light flashed on his body, and he wanted to escape into the ancient tree. But a figure flashed, and the ancient tree monster was directly grabbed by the neck and dragged out just as he touched the ancient tree. An extremely violent and destructive power instantly enveloped the ancient tree demon, causing him to feel cold all over and not dare to move at all. Ew. Are not of the martial emperor realm. The ancient tree demon was terrified and looked at Qin Yu in disbelief. The power that Qin Yu released just now was definitely not something a martial emperor could possess. Even an emperor realm master would find it difficult to possess such power. This made the ancient tree demon think of the worst possibility. Could it be, you want to devour my qi and blood? Unfortunately, you're still too weak. A cold smile appeared on Qin Yu's face. He could sense an extremely pure wood attribute energy fluctuation from the ancient tree demon's body. The wood attribute energy fluctuation was so pure that even Qin Yu, who had a vast dragon aura, was moved. It was probably something that could only be found by chance. What do you want? If you dare to kill me, the ancient tree demon tribe will never forgive you. Sensing the terrifying fluctuations coming from Qin Yu's body, the ancient tree demon's expression changed drastically as it threatened in a trembling voice. Bang! Qin Yu exerted force in his 5 fingers. Before the ancient tree demon could finish his words, he was crushed by Qin Yu and his soul was extracted. After the ancient tree demon died, its body quickly withered and finally turned into a withered sapling. On the sapling, there was a fist-sized, translucent, dark green spirit fruit. Qin Yu plucked that spirit fruit. From that spirit fruit, he sensed a vast amount of wood attribute energy. Refined. With a thought from Qin Yu, a massive dragon aura appears in his palm. That dark green spirit fruit is immediately swallowed by the dragon aura. Boom! Immediately, all of Qin Yu's limbs and bones were filled with a strong and pure energy. Under the circulation of the ancient battle dragon art, the rich energy was instantly refined. Qin Yu's cultivation immediately soared by more than 10 times, returning from the martial emperor realm to the emperor realm. More importantly, several hidden injuries in Qin Yu's body were healed, and his physique seemed to have strengthened a lot. Oh, they caught up so quickly. Qin Yu, who had just refined the energy of the spirit fruit, was slightly surprised. He could sense that there were many powerful auras in the mountain range, which were rapidly moving in his direction to surround him. Among those auras, the weakest was at the Emperor realm, while the rest were at the heavenly Yuan realm. Qin Yu's cultivation had just recovered to the Emperor realm, so he naturally would not be entangled with the ancient tree demon clan. Yin-Yang escape. Qin Yu moved his right hand, and an ancient Yin-Yang talisman appeared in his hand. With a flash of Yin-Yang light, Qin Yu disappeared without a trace. Not long after, several ancient tree demons with powerful auras appeared at the place where Qin Yu was previously. Did he manage to escape? Damn it! The ancient tree demon clan's powerhouses used their secret techniques one after another, but they could not sense anything. They were all furious. At this moment, Qin Yu, who was holding the ancient Yin-Yang talisman, had already left the ancient tree demon clan's territory. The ancient Yin-Yang talisman in his hand was an escape talisman that contained the power of Yin and Yang. The power of Yin and Yang could create chaos above and the 5 elements below. Therefore, the Yin-Yang escape talisman was even rarer than the legendary 5 elements divine technique. There was nowhere in the world that it could not go. Of course, every time the ancient Yin-Yang talisman was used, the power of Yin and Yang in it would be weakened greatly. Qin Yu felt that after he recovered his cultivation and found the dragon soul, he should start cultivating the ancient talisman Dao. The inheritance of immortal King Zhanlong was not only the inheritance of immortal qi cultivation, but also the inheritance of alchemy, crafting, talisman, array, and other aspects that immortal King Zhanlong had mastered. However, Qin Yu needed to carefully study those aspects before he could gradually master them. With the yin-yang escape talisman in his hand, Qin Yu passed through the territories of powerful monster clans and entered the hinterland of the ancient demon mountain range. The deeper he went, the stronger the dragon clan's aura became. However, because of this, Qin Yu could sense that there was no real dragon clan in the fire demon mountain range. This was because the dragon clan's aura did not change at all. It did not seem like a living creature at all, but more like an inanimate object. The strange thing was that the deeper he went into the fire demon mountain range, the fewer monster clans there were. It seemed that the monster clans of the fire demon mountain range did not dare to go too close. Is it because of the dragon clan's aura? Qin Yu pondered for a moment. He felt that this was the only possibility. Not encountering any monster clans made things easier for Qin Yu. Qin Yu arrived at the depths of the fire demon mountain range very smoothly and appeared in front of a cave surrounded by thick fog. The dragon clan's aura that Qin Yu sensed came from this cave. Other than that, Qin Yu was able to sense an extremely frightening barrier fluctuation from this mountain cave. Whoosh! Qin Yu held the yin-yang escape talisman in his hand and wanted to enter the cave from underground. However, the entire cave was surrounded by a layer of ancient and mysterious restriction in a circular barrier, and the underground was no exception. The circular barrier was filled with an extremely mysterious power. Qin Yu carefully sensed it. After confirming that the mysterious power did not exceed the power of yin and yang, he immediately entered. Rumble. Although Qin Yu did not encounter any danger when he entered, the entire fire demon mountain range shook violently the moment he entered. The shaking was so intense that it was like a volcano was about to erupt. Chapter 710. This is the Fiend King Mystic Realm in the Flaming Demon Mountain Range has been activated. Someone snuck into the Fiend King Mystic Realm? How is that possible? Even a heavenly venerate can't resist the barrier of the Fiend King Mystic Realm. As the Flaming Demon Mountain Range shook violently, the thousands of demons in the Flaming Demon Mountain Range could feel it. Immediately, countless demon experts moved out and rushed towards the depths of the Flaming Demon Mountain Range. Fire Spirit Race. Fiend King Mystic Realm? In the Valley of the Fire Spirit Race, Zhen He, who was cultivating with his eyes closed, immediately sensed it and rushed towards the depths of the Flaming Demon Mountain Range. How is that possible? Hua Xiao, the patriarch of the Fire Spirit Race, looked towards the depths of the Flaming Demon Mountain Range with disbelief in his eyes. Big brother, what's going on? Did you activate the barrier of the Fiend King Mystic Realm? It was Hua Quan. He had sensed the appearance of the Fiend King's secret realm, so he quickly rushed over and asked with a pleasantly surprised expression. It's not me. Someone else activated the Fiend King Mystic Realm. Well, Xiao shook his head with a serious expression. Someone can activate the Fiend King Mystic Realm without the Fire Demon token? Hua Quan was stunned, and the surprise on his face turned into disbelief. These words made Hua Xiao's expression even more serious. The Fiend King Mystic Realm was the last hope for the Fire Spirit Race to rise again. If it was taken by someone else, the Fire Spirit Race would never be able to rise again. The Demon Bear Race. The Fiend King Mystic Realm, is it the Fire Spirit Race? Xiong Li, who was tall and strong like a small mountain, had a gloomy expression in his long and narrow eyes. Xiong Li was the patriarch of the Demon Bear Race and one of the few Heavenly Wheel realm experts in the Flaming Demon Mountain Range. Patriarch, it looks like the Fire Spirit Race has already comprehended the secret of the Fire Demon token. We can't wait any longer. Xiong Yuan, who had met Hu Qing late at night, had a murderous look in his eyes. If the Fire Spirit Race obtained the inheritance of the Fiend King Mystic Realm, then their many years of planning would be for naught. Xiong Li's eyes narrowed as he pondered. Although the Fire Spirit Race's power was lower in the Demon Mountain Range, they were the Fiend King Mystic Realm experts. However, in the Fire Demon Mountain Range, other than the Demon Bear clan, no other demon clan knew that the Fire Spirit clan had once been the overlord of the Fire Domain at its peak. Although the Fire Spirit Race had already fallen, Xiongli was not confident that he could destroy the fire spirit race in one go if he acted rashly. Once the fire spirit clan escaped, the monstrous bear clan would not be able to obtain the fire devil token that they wanted. Most importantly, once the news of the fire demon token spread, the entire fire demon mountain range and even the forces in the western part of the fire domain would definitely take action. That was not what Xiongli wanted to see. However, the monstrous king mysterious realm had been activated. If they were to continue to delay, the monstrous king mysterious realm's inheritance would be obtained by the fire spirit clan. At that time, it would be even more difficult to deal with the fire spirit race. However, at this moment, the vast demonic might that surged out from the depths of the fire demon mountain range vanished without a trace. Not the slightest fluctuation remained, as if it had never appeared. This caused Xiong Li and Xiong Yuan to feel extremely astonished. Could it be that the fire spirit race had failed to activate the monstrous king mysterious realms barrier? After all, if they had not failed, the fluctuation of the monstrous king mysterious realm would not have disappeared so easily. Whoosh! While Xiong Li and Xiong Yuan were astonished, a gray light flew into the sky from the distance and landed in front of them. It was a secret letter. After Xiong Li broke the restriction and opened the secret letter, he could not help but exclaim softly, "Patriarch, what's wrong?" Xiong Yuan could not help but ask. The fire spirit race sent a secret letter. It said that the person who activated the monstrous king mysterious realm was not from the fire spirit race. Xiong Li handed the secret letter to Xiong Yuan with a strange look in his eyes. Not from the fire spirit race? Does this mean that there are other monstrous beast clans that can activate the monstrous king mysterious realm? Xiong Yuan was also stunned after reading the secret letter, but he immediately reacted. It seems that we can't wait any longer. After pondering for a long time, a look of determination flashed in Xiong Li's eyes. Originally, he had thought that only the fire spirit race possessed the method to open the monstrous king mysterious realm. Thus, they would be able to take their time and plan. However, the activation of the monstrous king mysterious realm had caused Xiong Li to immediately change his mind. They were able to control the fire spirit race, but they did not even know which power had activated the monstrous king mysterious realm. Thus, the monstrous bear clan could not wait any longer. Otherwise, they would have no chance of entering the monstrous king mysterious realm. At this moment, in the depths of the monstrous fire mountain range, in the mysterious cave, after passing through the spirit formation restriction, Qin Yu entered the depths of the cave. The cave was not very large. At a glance, it was only several hundred meters in size. The air of the cave was filled with dazzling and dense fire origin energy. The fire origin energy would occasionally turn into flames, causing the entire cave to appear red and translucent. In the center of the cave, there was a skeleton wearing blazing battle armor and holding a blazing spear. Its body was surrounded by surging flames, and it was majestically sitting there. From the monstrous might emitted by the blazing flame skeleton, it seemed to have been an exceptional greater monstrous beast when it was alive. Heavenly God Realm. According to Qin Yu's judgment, the monstrous might emitted by the blazing flame skeleton was so strong that it had reached the heavenly God realm at the very least. One must know that even in the martial field, heavenly gods were already considered overlords whose names could shake a region. Qin Yu did not expect that such a powerful existence would exist in such a remote place like the Fire Demon Mountain Range. When Qin Yu approached the blazing flame skeleton, he discovered that on the right side of the skeleton, there was a stone tablet that was half the height of a person. Previously, it was blocked by the blazing flame skeleton's blazing battle armor, so Qin Yu did not see it. On the stone tablet, there were profound fire runes inscribed on it, and there was a row of ancient fire runes. With a glance, Qin Yu recognized that it was the fire spirit race's language. Sinful General Hua Jiang committed suicide in front of the Fire Emperor's tomb. Protector of the Fire Emperor's spirit, Qin Yu took out the ancient book. After searching and comparing it, he understood the meaning of the ancient fire runes. Surnamed Fire, and it appeared in the Fire Demon Mountain range. It seems that this blazing flame skeleton is an ancestor of the fire spirit race. Qin Yu did not expect that the fire spirit race, which had been reduced to the edge of the Fire Demon Mountain range and was struggling to survive, would actually have such a powerful ancestor. It seemed that the fire spirit race was also a rather glorious demon race in the past. Of course, Qin Yu was more interested in the Fire Emperor's tomb and Fire Emperor's spirit that were written on it. Whether it was in the 9th level of the martial Tao or the 9th level of the heavenly Tao, an existence that could be called an emperor was definitely an existence that had stepped onto the peak of a certain domain. If there was an ancient tomb of a 9th level heavenly Tao emperor in this place, it would be a great opportunity. Unfortunately, Qin Yu wandered around the cave and could not find the so-called Fire Emperor's ancient tomb. In the end, Qin Yu's gaze fell on the stone tablet beside the blazing flame skeleton. After pondering for a moment, Qin Yu walked over and gently touched the stone tablet. Chapter 711. Buzz, buzz, buzz. Immediately, Qin Yu felt as if his hand was being sucked in by the stone tablet. The dragon clan bloodline in his body seemed to be resonating with it and began to tremble violently. The mysterious fire runes on the stone tablet lit up one by one, and a vast and unparalleled power of fire emanated from the stone tablet. If it wasn't for the existence of the barrier in the cave, not only the Fire Demon Mountain range, but the entire western part of the fire domain would have been shaken. Whoosh, whoosh, whoosh. In the next moment, Qin Yu only saw rolling flames before his eyes. When he came back to his senses, he discovered that the original cave had become a world of flames. There were monstrous flames that could destroy the heavens and the earth, rolling between heaven and earth. So far, the most powerful flame Qin Yu had seen was the Golden Flames Heaven Incinerating Dragon, Fenyu's Golden Flames Heaven Incinerating Fire. However, the Golden Flames Heaven Incinerating Fire was completely insufficient in front of such a destructive flame. The power of the two was not on the same level. After thousands of years, someone has finally triggered the inheritance of the Fire Emperor. Just as Qin Yu was vigilantly sizing up the world of flames, a low and hoarse voice sounded without any warning. This fluctuation, Qin Yu's expression changed slightly. Following the sound, he turned his head to look. He saw a flaming figure stepping out from his surging flames. It was the flaming skeleton wearing the raging flame battle armor. However, at this moment, two wisps of light blue flames appeared on the head of the flaming skeleton wearing a helmet. They were like two eyeballs, looking indifferently at Qin Yu. "You're an ancestor of the fire spirit race." Qin Yu sized up the flaming skeleton. Although the flaming skeleton gave him an extremely dangerous feeling, Qin Yu, who had the War Dragon Immortal King and many immortal treasures, did not panic much. Even if he was unable to win, if he wanted to escape, he would still be able to escape from the spirit formation world. Of course, unless he had no choice, Qin Yu would not let go of the inheritance of an Emperor Realm expert. Although he had the inheritance of the Battle Dragon Immortal King, Qin Yu didn't mind having more inheritances. After all, his cultivation base wasn't strong enough yet. Fire Spirit Race, 489th Patriarch, Hua Jiang. The blazing skeleton said in a clanging voice. 498th generation? Qin Yu raised his eyebrows. Judging from Hua Jiang's words, he was a character from 10,000 years ago. 10,000 years ago, the Fire Spirit Clan had 498 generations. The history of the Fire Spirit Clan was at least 100,000 years old, or even longer. Since you came from the outside world, do you know what the current situation of the Fire Spirit Clan is like? Hua Jiang, who was surrounded by raging flames, asked. Now, the Fire Spirit race has settled down at the border of the Fire Demon Mountain range. They have declined to the point where they don't even have a Heavenly Wheel Realm cultivator. They even need to marry to survive. Qin Yu didn't try to hide anything. He told her everything he knew about the Fire Spirit race. Back then, If I hadn't been careless and caused the Fire Emperor to be plotted against, I wouldn't have fallen to such a state, and my clan wouldn't have suffered because of it." Huijiang sighed. He was obviously blaming himself in his heart. "As far as I know, the fire spirit race is facing a calamity now. It's very likely that it will be difficult to deal with. It's even very likely that the entire race will be exterminated." Qingyu looked at Huijiang and said slowly, "Junior, what are you trying to say?" Huijiang could tell that Qingyu was implying something, so he asked directly, "Tell me where the Fire Emperor's inheritance is, and I'll help the fire spirit race get through this crisis. How about it?" Qingyu didn't beat around the bush and went straight to the point. He could already tell that the Fire Emperor's inheritance wasn't in this secret realm of fire. Since you've triggered the inheritance, you're naturally qualified to know where the Fire Emperor's inheritance is. However, the Fire Emperor is the most powerful Great Emperor in the history of the Great Spirit World. The Fire Emperor's inheritance isn't that easy to obtain. If you don't have a great opportunity and great luck, you'll only end up dead. Huijiang wasn't surprised when he heard that. He only warned Lin Fan, "You don't have to worry about that. As long as you tell me where the Fire Emperor's inheritance is, I'll help the fire spirit race get through this crisis." Qingyu smiled faintly. He was able to obtain the Battle Dragon Immortal King's inheritance despite the interference of the foreign powerhouses. Wasn't that a great opportunity and great luck? It seems that you're very confident. The two wisps of light blue flames in Huijiang's eyes flickered slightly, and a fiery light floated out from between his eyebrows. Qingyu focused his gaze and realized that the fiery light was a fiery map. On the fiery map, there was an extremely eye-catching fiery divine tower. The Fire Emperor's ancient tomb is in this divine tower. As for the specific location, you'll have to find it yourself. However, you must remember that once you leave this place, you must find the divine tower within 49 days. Otherwise, this map will automatically disappear. Huijiang flicked his finger and gave the fiery map to Qingyu. If he couldn't find the Fire Emperor's ancient tomb with the map in hand, he wouldn't be qualified to inherit the Fire Emperor's inheritance. "Thank you, Senior." Qingyu took the fiery map and sealed it. "This fire pearl contains my lifetime's worth of inheritance and ultimate techniques. I hope that you'll be able to find an inheritor of the fire spirit race for me after you leave. Remember, if it's not an inheritor of the fire spirit race, then the restrictions within the pearl will be triggered." Huijiang took out a fist-sized pearl with ancient flames on it. "All right," Qingyu nodded. Huijiang's last sentence was obviously a warning to him. However, Qingyu really wasn't that interested in Huijiang's inheritance. Of course, this was also because he had obtained the clue of the Fire Emperor's inheritance. Otherwise, it might be the inheritance of a heavenly god. This was still quite tempting. The divine fire of this secret realm is the Fire Emperor's vast sky divine flame. It contains a trace of the Fire Emperor's comprehension when he was alive. Looking at your body, there seems to be the fluctuation of a fire path divine ability. If you can comprehend it, it will be quite beneficial for you. As the fiery pearl was taken out, the burning flames on Huijiang's skeleton gradually dissipated. From the looks of it, the spirit in the skeleton could dissipate at any time. Vast sky divine flame? Qingyu thought for a moment. There was no information about the vast sky divine flame in Zhanlong Immortal King's memory. This was normal. After all, Zhanlong Immortal King was a true immortal. What he had seen and heard was naturally more related to the immortal realm. However, Qingyu naturally had no reason to let go of the divine flame of an Emperor Rel powerhouse. Immediately, Qingyu sat down cross-legged and formed a seal with both hands. In his palm, the ancient seal of the divine dragon glowed faintly. Whoosh, whoosh. The rolling flames in the secret realm immediately rushed into Qinyu's body and were crazily refined and devoured. Qinyu's cultivation also soared by leaps and bounds because of this. The energy contained in the divine flame was no weaker than the dragon chi of the ancient seal of the divine dragon and the spirit fruit in the ancient tree demon's body. In a short while, Qin Yu went from the initial Emperor realm to the peak Emperor realm, and then broke through to the ancient Emperor realm. Chapter 712. Time passed quietly. 3 days later, the raging flames that had covered the entire secret realm were completely absorbed. Qin Yu's cultivation had also reached the complete Heavenly Yuan stage in these 3 days. That's right, Qin Yu had not only recovered his cultivation, but he had also reached the complete Heavenly Yuan stage. With the mighty Heavenly Yuan battle dragon in Qin Yu's body, he could step into the Heavenly Wheel stage at any time. The Heavenly Yuan stage was to transform the martial way True Yuan into the Heavenly Yuan stage. The Heavenly Wheel stage was to comprehend the two extremes of yin and yang. In other words, it was the power of yin and yang. However, it was different from the ordinary power of yin and yang. It was the unique power of yin and yang in the martial region. When the power of yin and yang met, it would become the yin-yang heavenly wheel. When the yin-yang heavenly wheel reached its limit, he could break through to the calamity stage. After making a great breakthrough in his cultivation, Qin Yu did not leave immediately. The reason he came to this secret realm was because he sensed the aura of the Dragon Clan. Although he had obtained the inheritance of the Fire Emperor, Qin Yu did not let go of the Dragon Clan's aura. He wanted to investigate it. An ancient sword? Soon, Qin Yu found the source of the Dragon Clan's aura in the cave where the flames had disappeared. It was a flaming long sword with flame dragon runes engraved on it. The Dragon Clan's aura that Qin Yu sensed came from the flame dragon runes. Is this a divine treasure refined with the Dragon Clan's blood essence? Qin Yu looked at the long sword for a while and held it. Roar! Immediately, Qin Yu faintly felt a dragon's roar coming from the long sword. An extremely hot Dragon Clan's aura surged toward Qin Yu, as if it wanted to devour Qin Yu's soul. However, when it sensed the powerful main dragon bloodline's aura in Qin Yu's body, the hot Dragon Clan's aura immediately wanted to retreat into the ancient sword. Want to leave? Qin Yu's eyes flickered coldly. With a thought, several illusionary figures of Shenron appeared and sealed off the scorching dragon aura. From that blazing Dragon Clan's aura, Qin Yu sensed a trace of soul energy fluctuation. It was obvious that the flaming dragon sword was not only refined with the Dragon Clan's blood essence, but it had also fused with a trace of the dragon soul. However, that strand of dragon soul no longer had any intelligence. It only had a bloodthirsty instinct. Therefore, the dragon soul was naturally of no use to the current Qin Yu. However, Qin Yu was able to use a secret sensing technique to sense the location of the dragon soul's main body. As long as he had not left the fire domain, Qin Yu would be able to find him. After obtaining clues about the dragon tribe, Qin Yu kept the flaming longsword with dragon patterns. This time, Qin Yu's harvest was huge. Not only did he obtain the aura of the dragon race, but he also obtained the location of an Emperor Realm expert's tomb. Qin Yu walked around the secret realm. After finding nothing, he prepared to leave. But at this time, Qin Yu's expression changed slightly. He discovered that an extremely faint flame mark had appeared in his dantian. If it wasn't for Qin Yu's amazing perception, he probably wouldn't have been able to discover the flame mark. Qin Yu was about to ask Huajiang when he raised his head and found that the flames on the skeleton had completely disappeared. Huajiang's soul power had also dissipated. Could it be related to the Fire Emperor's inheritance? Qin Yu sensed in a deep voice. Countless thoughts flashed through his mind. If it wasn't related to the Fire Emperor's inheritance, then the appearance of this flame mark was somewhat thought-provoking. After all, it was Huajiang who took the initiative to let him absorb the flames in this secret realm. After sensing for a long time without discovering anything, Qin Yu's gaze once again landed on that skeleton in the river of fire. Although there was no longer Huajiang's soul power, the skeleton, whether it was the armor, the battle spear, or the skeleton itself, were all rare divine treasures. In the 10 Directions world, the grades of weapons were divided into spirit treasures, saint treasures, divine treasures, and immortal treasures. Each grade was further divided into 9 grades. Spirit treasures were the most common. Even the Fire Spirit clan, which was in dire straits, had spirit treasures. Saint treasures, especially high-grade saint treasures, were rare. In the entire Flame Mountain range, only the top monster race tribes had them. Of course, saint treasures could often be seen in the super forces outside the Fire Demon Mountain range. However, divine treasures were truly rare. Even in the entire western part of the Fire Domain, only the superpowers had them. Even in the entire Fire Domain, there weren't many top divine treasures. As for immortal treasures, in the entire Ten Directions world, the forces that had them were rare and stood at the top of the Ten Directions world. Therefore, for Qin Yu, the skeleton, and several other divine treasures, he naturally wanted to get his hands on them. As for the chaotic dragon spear that Qin Yu had refined, it was considered a half-immortal in the Heaven Domain. According to Qin Yu's judgment, it was only a saint treasure. Of course, the chaotic dragon spear had endless potential. It was not impossible for it to become a real immortal treasure in the future. Sizzle, sizzle, sizzle. Immediately, Qin Yu sat cross-legged and summoned the remaining vast heaven divine flame sealed in his body. He began to refine the skeleton outside the Fire Demon Mountain range after the Monster King's secret realm was triggered. In the depths of the Fire Demon Mountain range, countless monster race experts gathered every day, wanting to see what was going on. Unfortunately, facing the Monster King's secret realm in the cave, those monster race experts could only wander outside. No one dared to touch the secret realm. Those who wanted to break through the cave's secret realm by chance were basically turned into ashes. Not even their bones were left. 2 days later, in the Fire Spirit clan. Early in the morning, the entire Fire Spirit clan was busy. Today was the day of the marriage between Hui Yuaner and the young master of the Monster Bear clan. Taking advantage of this opportunity, the Fire Spirit clan invited many powerful monster race experts. Today, not only did they have to announce the marriage between the Fire Spirit clan and the Monster Bear clan, but they also had to take the opportunity to tell the other monster races in the Fire Demon Mountain range that Hui Yuaner had been accepted as a disciple by True Crane. With the Monster Bear clan and True Crane as their backing, the other monster race tribes in the Fire Demon Mountain range would not dare to bully the Fire Spirit clan. Whoosh whoosh. When the scorching sun rose into the sky, accompanied by a strong monster wind, a large group of monster cultivators with strong physiques and extraordinary auras came to the Fire Spirit clan happily. The leader of the group was the Monster Bear clan's patriarch, Xiongli. On his left was his confidant, Xiong Yuan. On his right was his eldest son, Xiongba. Senior Xiongli, excuse me for not going out to meet you. Please come in. Hua Xiao led the Fire Spirit clan's higher-ups to personally welcome Xiong, Li, and the others. Brother Hua Xiao, our clans have become in-laws today. If you call me senior, won't you be messing up the seniority? After glancing at Hua Qing, who was behind Hua Xiao, Xiongli laughed and patted Hua Xiao's shoulder. Brother Xiongli is right. I didn't think it through. Hua Xiao apologized again and again, but the smile on his face was extremely bright. Under Hua Xiao's lead, Xiong Li and the others entered the Fire Spirit clan's main hall. Seeing Xiong Li arrive, the powerful monster race experts all stood up and bowed. The Monster Bear clan's strength was not something the Fire Spirit clan could compare to. Moreover, Xiong Li himself was a mid-heavenly wheel expert. His strength was terrifying. Chapter 713. Thank you, everyone, for coming to my son and Yuan Er's wedding. Please take a seat. Brother True Crane, it's been a long time. Xiong Li greeted the beast cultivators in the hall as if they were his own family. Finally, he greeted True Crane. It's been a few years since we last met. Your cultivation has become even more profound. You must be close to the late stage of the Heavenly Wheel realm. True Crane cupped his fists and smiled. I'm still far from it. Even Brother True Crane, I heard that you're confident of reaching the peak of the Heavenly Wheel realm. Xiong Li waved his hands. Hua Xiao and the other members of the Fire Spirit race were delighted to see Xiong Li and True Crane chatting happily. Patriarch Xiong Yuan, who had disappeared for a long time, reappeared in the hall and gave Xiongli a look. "Brother Fire Firmament, it's about time for the banquet. Go check on Yuan, and see if she's ready. After we return from the wedding, we'll have to invite the various clans and even offer sacrifices to our ancestors. We can't miss this auspicious time." Xiongli walked to Hua Zhao's side when he saw that Xiong Yuan had returned. "Look at me. I was so happy that I almost forgot about the important matter. Men, invite the eldest miss out." Hua Xiao immediately summoned a member of the fire spirit race to inform Hu Yuaner. Before long, Hu Yuaner, who was wearing a red dress and gorgeous makeup, was escorted by the fire spirit race. Everyone's gazes immediately landed on Hu Yuaner as soon as he entered the hall. Although Hu Yuaner was still young, she was already an extremely beautiful woman. Xiongba's eyes flashed with passion when he saw the beautiful Hu Yuaner. After kowtowing to his parents, Hua Xiao announced the start of the wedding banquet. All sorts of delicacies and fine wine were served. The entire fire spirit race was filled with joyous cheers. True Crane, who was being toasted by Xiong Li and the others, suddenly looked outside the fire spirit race's valley. "Senior True Crane, what's wrong?" Hua Xiao, whose face was flushed from drinking, noticed True Crane's expression and couldn't help but ask. "There are ripples of formation runes around our land." True Crane put down his wine cup, his gaze turning serious. In his senses, the entire valley where the Fire Spirit clan was located had ripples of formation runes appearing. It was obvious that someone had set up a formation. The fluctuation of formation patterns. Hua Xiao suddenly came to his senses and immediately sent a few high-level elders of the fire spirit race to investigate. However, after a while, Hua Xiao's expression turned extremely serious. The few high-level elders who went to investigate never returned. It was as if they had disappeared without a trace. More importantly, not only the Heavenly Will stage True Crane, but also the Heavenly Origin stage Hua Xiao and the others could feel the energy waves coming from the valley. What happened? Could it be that I'm drunk? Why do I feel like the entire fire spirit race is covered by a spirit formation? Someone has surrounded the fire spirit race. A moment later, more and more demon race people reacted. The originally joyous banquet was filled with surprised exclamations. Did something happen? After kowtowing to the Wan family, Hui Yuaner sat there quietly, waiting to be married. When she heard the cries of the Heaven Origin stage monsters, her expression changed. She immediately looked at Hu Qing, who was standing beside her father. However, compared to the other members of the Fire Spirit clan who were at a loss, Hu Qing's expression was calm, and there was no fluctuation in her eyes. It was as if she was not surprised by all of this. This made Hui Yuaner's heart sink. "That Hu Qing, you'd better tell your father and master to be on guard." At this moment, Hui Yuaner couldn't help but recall what Qin Yu had warned her before he left. She was extremely regretful. She had originally thought that Qin Yu had ill intentions and wanted to provoke the higher-ups of the Fire Spirit race. However, it seemed that Qin Yu really did know something, and that was why he had suggested to warn her. "Xiong Li, it's you?" True Crane's gaze swept across the panicked Fire Spirit race and other demon race cultivators in the hall. He suddenly looked at Xiong Li and the others. When he saw that Xiong Li was still smiling and drinking wine casually, True Crane's expression turned serious. If it was only Xiong Li, with True Crane's cultivation, he naturally wouldn't be afraid. However, there was an old demon bear behind Xiong Li who was trying to break through to the Calamity stage. Brother Xiong Li, was this spirit formation really set up by the demon bear race? When Hua Xiao and the other higher-ups of the Fire Spirit race heard True Crane's words, they all looked at Xiong Li with disbelief. The other demon race cultivators in the hall looked at Xiong Li and Hu Qing with astonishment and strange expressions. Weren't the two races supposed to form an alliance through marriage today? What was the demon bear race trying to do? Since you've discovered it, then there's no need for us to be so secretive. That's right, those restrictions were set up by us. At this moment, the demon bear race didn't hide anymore. The smile on his face became somewhat sinister as he sneered at Hua Xiao and the other fire spirit race cultivators. Why? Hua Xiao was furious, but he forcibly suppressed his anger and questioned in a deep voice. The fire spirit race and the demon bear race had no enmity between them. Hua Xiao couldn't understand why the demon bear race would attack them. Moreover, they had chosen the day of the alliance marriage and the gathering of their clansmen. Such an action was clearly intended to wipe out the fire spirit race in one fell swoop. Now that he thought about it, the demon bear race had probably started to plot against them when they came to propose the marriage 2 years ago. Why? Don't worry. I'll give you an explanation later. I won't let you die with regrets. After Xiongli sneered, he looked at the other demon beast cultivators in the hall with a ferocious and ruthless gaze. I'll give you 3 breaths of time. If you're not from the fire spirit race, leave immediately. Otherwise, you'll have to bear the consequences. Hearing Xiong Li's murderous words, regardless of whether they were on good terms with the fire spirit race or had been invited, they all immediately left the territory of the fire spirit race. After leaving the valley of the fire spirit race and seeing the black mass of demon bear race experts, the demon beast cultivators felt their hearts palpitate. It seemed that the fire spirit race wouldn't be able to escape today. Hua Zhao's expression became extremely ugly when he saw that only the fire spirit race's people were left in the originally lively wedding hall. If they could gather all the demon beast cultivators just now, they might be able to fight against the demon bear race. Unfortunately, the demon beast cultivators who had come to participate in the wedding wouldn't risk their lives for the fire spirit race. Now, the only people they could rely on were the fire spirit race themselves. Thinking of this, Hua Qing's gaze swept across all the fire spirit race's people and had them gather together. Father, be careful of Hua Qing. They're together. But right at this moment, a hurried voice sounded. Hua Qing, who was originally approaching Hua Xiao, stiffened and stopped in her tracks. Chapter 714. Hua Qing originally wanted to stay by Hua Zhao's side and betray them at the critical moment, but she didn't expect Hui Yuan'er to see through her. She couldn't help but look at Hui Yuan'er. She didn't know when she had given herself away and allowed Hui Yuan'er to catch her. Hua Qing betrayed us. Hua Xiao, Hua Quan, and the other higher-ups of the Fire Spirit clan all looked at Hua Qing. Hua Xiao and the others didn't believe it at first, but when they saw Hua Zhao's expression, their hearts sank. Some things were hard to discover before they were exposed, but once they were exposed, they would immediately discover the problem, just like Hua Qing. Jinhe also looked at Hua Qing, his heart sinking. No wonder the Demon Bear clan could surround the Fire Spirit clan without anyone noticing. It turned out that there was a traitor among the Fire Spirit clan. It seemed that the Demon Bear clan was fully prepared to overturn the Fire Spirit clan. Jinhe, this is a grudge between our Monstrous Bear clan and the Fire Spirit clan. If you do not interfere, our Monstrous Bear clan will definitely possess a precious treasure. However, if you insist on becoming enemies with our Monstrous Bear clan, the consequences will be very serious. She only glanced at Hua Xiao and the others, who were trembling with anger, and ignored them. He looked coldly at Jinhe. Although he knew that Jinhe had taken Hui Yuan'er as his disciple, she only was surprised that Jinhe didn't choose to leave under such circumstances. Of course, even if Jinhe didn't leave, Xiongli wouldn't be afraid. Although his cultivation was one level lower than Jinhe's, the Demon Bear clan had sent out all their elites. There were more than 50 Sky Origin Realm cultivators, and they had even set up a killing array. Even if Jinhe had reached the late stage of the Heavenly Wheel Realm, he wouldn't be able to resist. Hua Xiao, Hui Yuan'er, and the rest of the Fire Spirit clan looked at Jinhe nervously. The True Crane was the only guarantee they could resist. If Jinhe also left because of the Demon Bear clan, the Fire Spirit clan would become fish on the chopping board. They could only be slaughtered by the Demon Bear clan. Xiongli, although I don't know what kind of grudge there is between the Demon Bear clan and the Fire Spirit clan for you to be so ruthless, Hui Yuan'er is my disciple. I can't just stand by and watch. Looking at the weak Fire Spirit race, True Crane spoke in a deep voice. Huayuaner was his only chance to enter the Beast King Island. If he missed out on Huayuaner, he didn't know how long it would take for him to accept another disciple with such aptitude. After all, although he was somewhat famous in the Fire Demon Mountain Range, his reputation would not be prominent outside of the Fire Demon Mountain Range. Those with outstanding aptitudes would not choose to become his disciple. Instead, they would join those large forces and make it easier for them to join the Beast King Island. Good, very good. Jinha, you're the one who asked for it, so don't blame us. Hearing this, Xiong Li's face turned completely gloomy. The killing intent in his eyes soared, and his demonic aura soared to the sky. Xiong Yuan and the other Sky Origin Stage cultivators also scattered around the hall, surrounding the hall tightly. When Hua Xiao and the other members of the Fire Spirit clan saw the fighting force of the Monster Bear clan, despair appeared on their faces. With so many Heavenly Yuan Stage experts, no matter how the Fire Spirit tribe struggled, it would be useless. Even the true Crane's expression turned grave after he scanned the Monster Bear clan's battle prowess. But since he had made his choice, he naturally would not change his mind. The true Crane did not move, but white feathers appeared all over the true Crane's body. Behind him, a pure white immortal Crane faintly appeared. Senior True Crane, it looks like my Fire Spirit race is fated to be unable to escape this calamity today. I only have one wish. I hope that you can bring Yuan out of this encirclement and preserve a trace of our bloodline. Seeing that True Crane was about to fight Xiong Li, Hua Xiao hurriedly sent a message through a secret technique. Since the Fire Spirit tribe was destined to be destroyed, they had to survive. Huayuaner, who had the best aptitude, might be able to rise again in the future. Chirp! True Crane nodded slightly at Hua Xiao's words. In the next moment, the pure white phoenix behind True Crane let out a long cry. It turned into a ray of white light and swept Huayuaner up into the sky. It was so fast that Huayuaner was swept away before anyone in the hall could react. But strangely, True Crane remained in the hall, facing Xiong Li. He did not move at all. Divine Crane Art? As expected, you are the descendant of true Monarch Crane. Xiong Li was not surprised by the appearance of the Red Crown Crane. The monstrous bear tribe had already investigated the origin of the Red Crown Crane. Although legend said that True Crane was a wild crane, in reality, True Crane was the descendant of true Monarch Crane, whose name had shaken the Fire Domain thousands of years ago. Unfortunately, the Crane tribe, which had once ruled the Fire Domain, had completely declined with the fall of true Monarch Crane, just like the Fire Spirit tribe. Now, only the Crane tribe's bloodline remained. Do you think you can escape with a burden? Of course, although Xiong Li was not surprised, he did react. He sneered and formed a seal with his hands. An extremely terrifying demonic aura surged out of the Fire Spirit tribe's valley. Accompanying the terrifying demonic aura was the illusory image of a 100-foot-tall monster bear. After the illusory image appeared, it waved its mountainous fists and smashed them into the air. The terrifying demonic aura affected the entire valley. Its power made one's heart tremble. Rumble! A deafening explosion that sounded like a clap of thunder rang out. The crane, which was so fast that it had turned into a ray of white light, was sent flying hundreds of feet away. It crashed heavily into the Fire Spirit tribe's territory. A deep pit appeared on the ground, and huge cracks appeared. Many buildings collapsed in an instant. In the deep pit, the crane, which was faintly surrounded by divine chi, was clearly much weaker. Huayuaner's face was pale. Blood flowed from the corner of his mouth. His aura was extremely weak. With her martial progenitor cultivation, even if she was only slightly affected by the illusory image's attack, it was enough to severely injure her. She was lucky that she did not lose her life. The great barbaric bear. True Crane's face was pale. He seemed to be affected by the attack. He quickly raised his head and looked at the illusory image of the great barbaric bear. His pupils shrank to the size of needles in disbelief. The great barbaric bear was the ancestor of the monster bear tribe. It was an existence that surpassed the calamity stage. Although it only had one monster spirit, its combat strength was comparable to a perfect heavenly wheel realm expert. Otherwise, it would not have been able to break through his true crane divine technique in one move. Yuan, the expressions of Hua, Xiao, and the other fire spirit tribe members changed drastically. They could not wait to rush out of the main hall. Unfortunately, the 50 heavenly origin realm experts of the monster bear tribe from Xiong Yuan locked onto Hua, Xiao, and the others. As long as Hua, Xiao, and the others showed the slightest weakness, they would immediately attack. In fact, if True Crane had not stopped them, they would have already attacked. Why would they be in a deadlock here? Chapter 7:15. Zhen He, do you now understand why we're confident that we can destroy the fire spirit race, even though we know you're here? Seeing True Crane's pale complexion, Xiong Li's eyes blazed with killing intent. Even though Zhen He's cultivation was a level higher than his, he was confident that he could suppress Zhen He with the help of the great barbarian bear. Today, not only did he have to obtain the fire spirit race's fire spirit token, but he also had to capture Zhen He and interrogate him about the inheritance of true Lord Red Crown Crane. Kill. Xiong Li stomped on the ground before Zhen He, Hua Xiao, and the others could say anything. The ground cracked as he charged out murderously. Strange demonic runes covered Xiong Li's body, making his demonic aura even stronger. Red Crown Crane killing art. True Crane's eyes were cold and indifferent. His figure flashed and floated around Xiong Li like a wisp of smoke. Both of his hands continued to point in the air. Streaks of finger force, which were only an inch long, continuously broke through the air like lightning. Streaks of sharp air-rending sounds appeared in the void. The Spirit Crane clan had always been gifted with astonishing speed. True Crane, on the other hand, used his extreme speed talent to the extreme. In the hall, the people of the Demonic Bear tribe and the Fire Spirit tribe could only see shadows flashing in the air. They couldn't see the real Crane at all. Demonic origin divine shield. Sensing the finger of destruction sweeping towards him from all directions, Xiong Li, who had rushed out, abruptly let out a loud shout. The violent demon essence exploded, turning into a dark yellow demon essence divine shield, firmly protecting his body, blocking the finger force that was constantly attacking him. At the same time, with Xiong Li as the center, formation runes filled the air within a radius of 300 feet, forming an extremely terrifying boundary. Zhen He, who was so fast that no one could see him clearly, was immediately restricted. Demonic spirit possession. Xiong Li roared as brown fur grew on his body. He transformed into his demonic bear form, and his demonic aura soared into the sky. In the valley of the fire spirit race, the great barbarian bear turned into a ray of light and attached itself to Xiong Li's body. Although the great barbarian bear was only 30 meters in size after it was possessed, its might didn't decrease in the slightest. In fact, because it overlapped with Xiong Li, its power became even more terrifying. It was even more terrifying than the great circle of heavenly wheel realm. Roar. With a furious roar, Xiong Li, who was possessed by a demon spirit, unleashed a berserk killing move. The True Crane, whose speed was restricted by the seal, was immediately suppressed and unable to use its advantage. Of course, as the descendant of true Lord Immortal Crane, True Crane had mastered many secret techniques as well. Although it was being suppressed, it did not show any signs of being defeated. The battle was intense. Kill. Don't leave a single fire spirit alive. Seeing that True Crane was suppressed by Xiong Li, Xiong Yuan and the other Sky Origin Realm elites of the Demonic Bear tribe immediately started to slaughter Hua Xiao and the others. With the absolute combat strength of the Demon Bear clan, dealing with the Fire Spirit clan was a one-sided massacre. If you want to exterminate my Fire Spirit race, then all of you can die together with me. Hua Xiao's eyes were bloodshot as he watched the Fire Spirits die one by one. His expression was ferocious and filled with despair. He formed an ancient seal and spat out a mouthful of blood onto it. Immediately, with the valley where the Fire Spirit clan was located as the center, boundless origin fire energy madly gathered towards him. One could clearly see that Hua Zhao's body was rapidly expanding as the origin fire energy poured into him. In the end, he became 4 to 5 feet tall, and his entire body was burning with raging flames. It was as if his blood was burning. What's going on? How did his cultivation suddenly increase by so much? With such power, he has already reached the heavenly wheel realm. Xiong Yuan and the other sky origin realm elites of the demonic bear tribe were extremely shocked when they saw Hua Zhao's strength skyrocket. Patriarch, the Fire Spirit clan's members almost jumped out of their eyes when they saw Hua Zhao, who had become enormous and was burning with bloody flames. Not good. This is the sky burning technique. A cry of alarm sounded. It was the traitor Hua Qing who recognized the forbidden technique that Hua Zhao was using. This secret technique was a secret technique that required one to burn their blood essence and forcefully absorb the origin fire energy into their body. Although the effect was great, the aftereffects were also extremely terrifying. After using it, one's roots would be injured and their cultivation would decrease greatly. In the worst case, one's origin fire energy would be burned and they would die. Looking at Hua Zhao's current appearance, he was clearly putting his life on the line. Form a formation. Xiong Yuan coldly snorted. Since it was a secret technique, there must be a time limit. If he wanted to drag it out, he would drag it out until Hua Zhao died. No matter what, none of the Fire Spirit clan's members should think about leaving alive today. With Xiong Yuan as the center, a total of 40 Sky Origin Realm elites formed a killing formation and surrounded Hua Zhao. The other dozen Sky Origin Realm elites continued to slaughter the Fire Spirit clan's members. Not long after, only a few hundred members of the Fire Spirit clan, which did not have many members to begin with, were still resisting. Moreover, these few hundred people continued to lose their lives. Hua Quan and the other Sky Origin Realm elites couldn't even protect themselves, let alone the others. Cough, cough. In the deep pit, Hui Yuaner crawled out with serious injuries. Seeing the Fire Spirit clan's members being wantonly slaughtered, he couldn't help coughing up blood, and his face became even paler. Sister Yuaner, this scene is too bloody. It's better if you don't watch. At this moment, a frivolous voice sounded. It was Xiong Ba, Xiong Li's son, who appeared and looked at Hui Yuaner with a perverted gaze. Although they couldn't let any of the Fire Spirit clan's members escape, they didn't have to kill all of them. They still had to leave behind a fire seed. That fire seed was naturally the most talented member of the Fire Spirit clan, Hui Yuaner. What? Seeing Xiong Ba walking over, Hui Yuaner's face was filled with hatred. She wanted nothing more than to tear Xiong Ba to shreds. Although she was extremely dissatisfied with the marriage with Xiong Ba, she still chose the marriage for the Fire Spirit clan. She didn't expect the monstrous bear clan to take advantage of the marriage to slaughter the Fire Spirit clan. Why? It's very simple. Since your Fire Spirit clan has declined to the point where you don't have the strength to protect the treasure key, you should hand it over as soon as possible. Since you don't know what's good for you, you can only end up like this. Xiongba grinned. Although the Fire Demon token was left behind by the Fire Spirit clan's ancestor, since the Fire Spirit clan hadn't obtained the demonic King Mystic Realm's inheritance after so many years, there would naturally be people targeting the Fire Spirit clan. Even if the monstrous bear clan didn't make a move, there would definitely be other forces that would target the Fire Spirit clan in the future. You're here for the Fire Demon token? Hui Yuaner came to his senses instantly and understood everything. Haha, you finally figured it out? Unfortunately, it's too late. Xiong Ba's smile widened. After today, they would be able to obtain the demonic King Mystic Realm's inheritance. The entire Fire Demon Mountain range would also submit to the monstrous bear clan. Rumble. At this moment, a deafening explosion sounded. It was Hua Zhao, who had used a forbidden technique to transform into a 50-foot-tall blood flame giant. Under the siege of dozens of heavenly origin stage cultivators, he was beaten back to his original form and heavily smashed into the wall of the hall. His body was covered in blood, and it was unknown whether he was still alive or not. The monstrous bear clan and others had also paid a heavy price, with several Heavenly Origin Stage cultivators losing their lives. Chapter 716. Patriarch. The expressions of Huo Quan and the other members of the fire spirit race changed drastically when they saw this. They were filled with fear and despair. Even Huo Xiao, who had used the burning sky art, couldn't fight his way out. The fire spirit race was doomed. Father. When Hui Yuaner saw Huo Xiao, whose fate was unknown, his already pale face turned even paler. He wanted to help him. Unfortunately, she was severely injured and couldn't even protect herself. She could only watch helplessly. It's over. Xiong Ba's smile widened. Although the monster bear tribe had sacrificed several Sky Origin Realm clansmen for this, it was heartbreaking. However, Huo Xiao's defeat also meant that the destruction of the fire spirit race was no longer hindered. Huo Xiao was the only member of the fire spirit race who could use the burning sky art. Now that Huo Xiao was dead, the fire demon token would fall into their hands. The demon bear tribe would be able to unify the fire demon mountain range. They might even become a giant in the boundless fire domain in the future. Hui Yuaner was in complete despair. She closed her eyes and prepared to use a secret technique to commit suicide. She didn't want to fall into Xiong Ba's hands and be tortured. Hui Yuaner regretted not believing Qin Yu's words and guarding against Wuqing. If the fire spirit race had been prepared in advance, then even if the monstrous bear clan had attacked en masse, the fire spirit race would not have fallen to such a state of being exterminated. Right, the teleportation talisman. Hui Yuaner shivered in her regret. She remembered that Qin Yu had given her a teleportation talisman before he left. She didn't think that the teleportation talisman would be of any use, so she didn't pay much attention to it. But now Kacha, Hui Yuaner immediately refined the last of her true yuan and took out the teleportation talisman Qin Yu had given her from her spatial ring. She crushed it, and a unique spatial fluctuation spread out. Xiong Ba sensed it, and his expression changed. Wong, Wong, Wong. Before he could react, mysterious runes appeared around Hui Yuaner and formed an ancient teleportation array. Whoosh! There was a flash of light, and a figure emerged from the ancient formation beside Hui Yuaner. That's the teleportation array. How is that possible? The entire territory of the fire spirit race has been sealed, so it's impossible for them to teleport. Who is that? This sudden change not only surprised Xiong Yuan and the other members of the demon bear tribe, who were slaughtering the members of the fire spirit tribe, but even Zhen He and Xiong Li, who were crazily fighting, involuntarily looked over. Just as the fire spirit race was about to be exterminated, such an unforeseen event had actually occurred. This caused them to be extremely curious as to who would intervene at this time. As expected, it has become like this. As Qin Yu looked at the fire spirit clan that was in a complete mess, Qin Yu knew that Hui Yuaner did not believe him. He's really here. Hui Yuaner had originally held onto a sliver of hope. But when he saw Qin Yu appear, a dazzling light immediately blossomed in his dark and despairing eyes. Although Hui Yuaner felt bad for dragging Qin Yu, who was in the martial emperor realm, into this matter, it didn't feel too good about it. But now, Qin Yu was really the last and only hope of the fire spirit race. This was because Qin Yu seemed to have known that this would happen. But Qin Yu still gave her a teleportation talisman. This meant that Qin Yu must have a trump card on him. Half-beast? Kid, who are you? Xiong Ba regained his senses. His face became sinister and ruthless as killing intent surged in his eyes. Killing intent? Sensing Xiong Ba's killing intent, Qin Yu glanced at him and pointed out a finger. The heaven origin of the war dragon gathered and turned into a finger force that pierced through the air. Swoosh! An afterimage of a finger force flashed through the air. Xiong Ba only felt the space in front of him ripple slightly. His consciousness instantly fell into darkness, and he fell to the ground. There was a bloody hole between Xiong Li's eyebrows, and blood was gushing out. This is seeing Qin Yu kill Xiong Ba with a single finger Hui Yuan was dumbfounded. Xiongba's cultivation had reached the Emperor realm. Qin Yu, who was only at the martial Emperor realm, killed Xiongba with a single move. But soon, Hui Yuan came to her senses. She was shocked to find that Qin Yu's cultivation had reached the complete Heavenly Yuan stage. In just a few days, he had reached the complete Heavenly Yuan stage from the martial Emperor realm. This cultivation speed was too shocking, wasn't it? Young clan leader, seeing Xiongba killed in an instant, the Heavenly Yuan stage clansmen of a monster bear tribe who were surrounding Qin Yu were shocked. As the most talented genius of the monster bear tribe in the past 100 years, Xiongba was already the next clan leader of the monster bear tribe. It was certain that he would reach the Heavenly Wheel stage in the future. It was even possible that he would break through the yin-yang boundary and step into the Calamity stage. But now, Xiongba, who had such amazing talent, was killed just like that. Naturally, the monster bear tribe's killing intent surged. Kill him! Kill him! Seeing this, Xiong Li's eyes were bloodshot. He couldn't wait to tear Qin Yu into pieces as he roared angrily. If he hadn't been held back by Zhang He, he would have already rushed out. Dying. The first to rush out from the monster bear tribe was Xiong Li's confidant, Xiong Yuan. Xiong Yuan's face was filled with killing intent as the shadow of a monster bear appeared on his body. He clawed at Qin Yu with his claws. A sharp sound of wind breaking could be heard. This was the monster bear tribe's killing technique. With a swipe of his claws, even a 1,000-foot-tall mountain would be crushed into dust in an instant. Divine thunder annihilation. Qin Yu wasn't afraid at all. He pointed at Xiong Yuan, who was charging at him from afar. With a crackling sound, a purple thunderbolt as thick as an arm suddenly struck down from the sky. It was the divine ability of the purple thunder divine cloud dragon. Xiong Yuan's reaction was quick. He changed his attack and clawed at the thunderbolt as if he wanted to tear it apart. Boom! However, with a deafening clap of thunder, Xiong Yuan's claws were turned into dust. Not only that, half of his head disappeared as well. How could this be? In just one move, Xiong Yuan, who was second only to the ancestor and patriarch of the monster bear tribe, was killed. This caused the other members of the monstrous bear clan that had charged over to kill Qin Yu to be stunned. Unable to conceal their fear, they looked at Qin Yu, who had pointed with a single hand. Such strength was definitely not something that a Heavenly Yuan realm cultivator could possess. Heavenly Wheel realm expert. As soon as this thought appeared, the ordinary Heavenly Yuan realm cultivators of the monster bear tribe immediately retreated. Hua Xiao had used a secret technique to raise his cultivation to the level of a Heavenly Wheel realm cultivator. Dozens of them had besieged him and paid the price of several of them to severely injure him. Now that they had encountered a real Heavenly Wheel realm cultivator, they would need all the Heavenly Yuan realm cultivators to go all out. Who was that guy? Zhang He squinted his eyes as he carefully sized up Qin Yu. Half monster body, Heavenly Wheel realm cultivation. There shouldn't be such a person in the Fire Demon Mountain range. Where did he come from? Damn it. Xiong Li's eyes were bloodshot and filled with hatred. He was furious, and his killing intent was even more intense. Chapter 717. Rumble. While Xiong Li was filled with killing intent and was unable to escape, Qin Yu's attacks became even more ferocious. As Qin Yu took a step forward, a soul-crushing rolling thunder cloud started to condense in the sky. Bolts of terrifying lightning that contained destructive power continuously came crashing down. Every bolt of lightning was extremely pure, capable of killing a member of the demonic bear tribe. In just a short while, more than half of the Heavenly Yuan elites from the demonic bear tribe had died. Ever since he had obtained the Zhan Long Celestial King's inheritance, the primordial battle dragon art seemed to have unlocked some kind of seal. As a result, Qin Yu's superpowers from the dragon tribe had become much more powerful. Otherwise, even if Qin Yu's cultivation had reached the perfect Heavenly Yuan stage, he would not have been able to kill his peers so easily. He's too powerful. Hui Yuaner opened her mouth in disbelief when she saw Qin Yu slaughtering the demonic bear tribe like a god of death. In just a short period of time, more than half of the demonic bear tribe's elites had been killed. What a terrifying cultivation. Who exactly is this person? Oh right, I remember now. Is he the half-demon that First Miss saved a few days ago? What? First Miss saved him? So, he saved her life. No wonder she came to save him. The remaining 100 members of the Fire Spirit tribe were overjoyed. At the same time, they began to speculate about Qin Yu's identity. Compared to the demonic bear tribe members who did not know about Qin Yu's background, the Fire Spirit tribe members quickly remembered Qin Yu. Although they did not know where Qin Yu came from, they at least knew why Qin Yu had attacked. Thousand Lightning Blast. After killing all the Heavenly Yuan stage elites, Qin Yu could not be bothered to kill the rest of the demonic bear tribe members one by one. With a thought, a vast lightning bolt struck down like a river. Wherever it passed, the demonic bear tribe members were killed. The only one who survived was Xiong Li, who was fighting with Zhen He in the hall. How is this possible? Seeing that the foundation of the Demon Bear clan had been killed by Qin Yu in a short couple of breaths' time, Xiong Li, who was originally overflowing with killing intent, finally reacted. There was a hint of shock and even fear in his berserk, blood-red eyes. Could it be that this person's cultivation has surpassed the Heavenly Wheel stage? Even Zhen He could not hide the shock in his eyes when he saw Qin Yu kill the members of the demonic bear tribe with a wave of his hand. This was because, even if he were to attack, he would not be able to easily slaughter the demonic bear tribe's dozens of Heavenly Yuan stage practitioners in such a short period of time. Heavenly Yuan stage was the 9th level of the Heavenly Yuan stage. To the 9th level to the Heavenly Yuan stage. Crack. Seeing the battle between Xiong Li and Zhen He in the palace hall, it seemed that the outcome of the battle would not be determined in a short period of time. Qin Yu extended his right hand towards Xiong Li. Qin Yu did not have the time to wait for Zhen He and Xiong Li to fight to the death. With a loud explosion, the lightning seal abruptly broke through the air and shattered the barrier around Xiong Li's body that enveloped the 30 spaces around him. Looks like I can only use a forbidden technique. Xiong Li was terrified. However, with Zhen He in front of him and Qin Yu behind him, he had no way to escape. Xiong Li's eyes flashed as he slapped his chest. He spat out a mouthful of blood, and an ancient altar was formed. The altar gave off a mysterious light, and ripples appeared in the air. This is the demonic bear tribe's spirit summoning technique. Zhen He immediately realized what kind of forbidden technique Xiong Li was using. His expression changed slightly, and he immediately unleashed his killer moves at the ancient altar. He wanted to destroy it. The pale-faced Xiong Li naturally wouldn't allow Zhen He to succeed. He channeled all the heavenly path origin energy in his body into the defensive barrier around him, blocking all the origin energy attacks. Boom! At this moment, Qin Yu unleashed another demonic heaven's lightning seal. With a deafening explosion, Xiong Li, who was vomiting blood, was sent flying dozens of feet away along with the ancient altar. The palace of the Fire Spirit clan was directly destroyed and turned into ruins. Whoosh! In the ruins of the main hall, a figure broke through the air and rushed towards Xiong Li. It was none other than Makoto Crane. Zhen He knew that Xiong Li's spirit summoning technique had the same ability as the teleportation array. Although the distance was too far to summon, the demonic bear tribe and the fire spirit tribe could teleport over. The person that Zhen He did not want Xiong Li to teleport over was Rumble. However, just as Zhen He approached, he was sent flying by a wave of terrifying energy. The large hall, which had originally turned into ruins, was directly turned into dust under the frightening force, and a huge empty space appeared. In the center of the empty space, a burly figure appeared. A terrifying demonic aura soared into the sky from his body. Beside him, Xiong Li was no longer breathing. The demonic spirit that possessed him had also dissipated. Is it too late? Seeing the burly figure, Zhen He's expression turned extremely grave. He was no stranger to that figure. It was the ancestor of the demonic bear tribe, Xiong Quan. More importantly, from the demonic aura that Xiong Kuang emitted, his cultivation had broken through the heavenly wheel realm and stepped into the heavenly disaster realm. Zhen He, we have no enmity between us. However, for the sake of the fire spirit tribe, you dared to kill so many members of the demonic bear tribe. Today you will die. An old and sinister voice sounded. The burly Xiong Kuang raised his head and looked at Zhen He. His dark brown eyes were filled with extremely gloomy, killing intent. In Xiong Kuang's opinion, the only person in the fire spirit tribe who had the strength to kill so many elite members of the demonic bear tribe was Zhen He. This person is the ancestor of the demonic bear tribe. His cultivation should have stepped into the heavenly disaster realm. Ordinary means won't be able to deal with him. Sensing that Xiong Kuang's killing intent had locked onto him, Zhen He's face turned even more grave. He couldn't help but send a voice transmission to Qin Yu to discuss. Although Qin Yu's cultivation seemed to be only at the complete heavenly origin realm, Qin Yu's combat strength was definitely at the heavenly wheel realm. He was just hiding his strength now. He just stepped into the heavenly wheel realm. There's nothing to worry about. Looking at the surging demonic aura and killing intent of Xiong Kuang, Qin Yu's expression was calm. In fact, there was even a hint of eagerness in his eyes. After coming to the fire domain, he had never truly fought with his full strength. Qin Yu was really curious about how strong he was. Just as well, he could test it out with the heavenly disaster realm Xiong Kuang. Whoosh! Like a meteor piercing through the sky, Qin Yu, who had unleashed his extreme speed path, had already charged out. However, this time, Qin Yu had a long spear in his hand. It was covered in chaotic ancient runes. Against a heavenly disaster realm Xiong Kuang, Qin Yu was serious. Chapter 718. You're courting death. Xiong Kuang ignored Qin Yu as he stepped forward and waved his sleeve. Whoosh! The violent and destructive heavenly origin energy turned into an apocalyptic wave and swept toward Qin Yu. Judging from the pressure, even a heavenly wheel realm expert would be seriously injured if they faced it head-on, let alone a heavenly yuan stage expert. However, Qin Yu wasn't afraid at all as he faced it head-on. Is this a calamity stage expert? Hui Yuaner and the rest of the fire spirit race, who thought that the crisis of their race had been resolved, were shocked when they saw Xiong Kuang's attack. In front of the furious Xiong Kuang, they felt that not only their bodies, but even their souls were intimidated. They couldn't move at all. Sky-devouring dragon seal. Facing Xiong Kuang's attack, a mysterious ancient dragon seal formed in the palm of Qin Yu's left hand. The dragon head on the dragon seal was lifelike and terrifying, as if it could devour everything in the world. As the ancient dragon seal expanded, a hole was devoured in the destructive wave. The dragon seal's power didn't diminish as it continued to devour Xiong Kuang. Xiong Kuang, who was filled with killing intent, had a strange look in his eyes. He was only at the peak of the sky origin stage. How did he break through his cultivation in such a short time? What kind of secret technique was this? Break! Xiong Kuang's reaction wasn't slow at all as he thrust out his palm. His powerful heavenly yuan formed a huge palm that slammed against the sky-devouring dragon seal. Although the sky-devouring dragon seal could devour everything, it was limited by Qin Yu's cultivation. It couldn't withstand Xiong Kuang's attack and was shattered. Swoosh! But at this moment, Qin Yu had already followed the sky-devouring dragon seal and arrived in front of Xiong Kuang. All the dragon runes on the chaotic dragon spear emitted a mysterious light, increasing the power of the chaotic dragon spear to the extreme. When the spear tip pierced through the air, ripples appeared in the void. It's a high-grade saint treasure. Xiong Kuang was shocked when he sensed the pressure coming from the primal chaos dragon spear. The chaos dragon spear in Qin Yu's hand was at least a 7th-grade sacred treasure. Such a treasure was already among the top in the Fire Demon Mountains. Even the demonic bear tribe did not have a saint treasure of that level. Thus, in addition to being shocked, intense greed also appeared in Xiong Kuang's eyes. With his current cultivation, if he had a high-grade saint treasure and the fire demon token, it would not be impossible for him to forcefully break through the boundary of the Demon King mystic realm in the depths of the Fire Demon Mountain range. Heaven and earth-defying cauldron. Thinking of this, Xiong Kuang's killing intent intensified, and his demonic aura became even more ferocious and terrifying. Xiong Kuang formed a hand seal and condensed an ancient cauldron with 3 legs and 2 handles. The ancient cauldron flickered with a mysterious light, bringing with it a boundless might as it descended from the sky, suppressing Qin Yu. Rumble. The ancient cauldron and the chaos dragon spear instantly met in the void. Destructive heavenly yuan swept out like a stormy sea, destroying everything around it. Qin Yu and Xiong Kuang's bodies shook violently at this moment as they withstood the destructive attack of their opponent. After a few breaths of time, Xiong Kuang and Qin Yu, who were facing the attack head-on, both retreated continuously. However, Xiong Kuang only retreated 5 steps, while Qin Yu retreated more than 20 steps. The difference in strength was still quite obvious. He can actually withstand the attack of a Calamity Realm expert. Zhen He, who had been looking for an opportunity to attack, was extremely shocked when he saw this scene. Although he already knew that Qin Yu had concealed his strength, Zhen He did not expect that Qin Yu's combat strength would reach such a level when he was serious. If Xiong Kuang had not stepped into the Calamity Realm, he would have been defeated long ago. Where did this person come from? After stabilizing his body, Xiong Kuang looked at Qin Yu. His eyes were filled with killing intent, but there was also a strong sense of suspicion. Not only could a perfect Heavenly Yuan stage expert face off against him, a Calamity Realm expert, but he could also withstand his attack. This kind of physical strength was a little too terrifying. Not to mention that he was only a half-monster. Even those pure-blooded monsters would not have such a strong physical body. It seems that it's still difficult to deal with a Calamity Realm expert with just the heaven-devouring dragon seal and the divine dragon tyrannical body. Qin Yu looked at Xiong Kuang, who was sizing him up vigilantly, and his eyes flickered slightly. After the previous exchange, Qin Yu had a clearer understanding of his own strength. With the secret techniques and saint treasures he had, he could easily kill a Heavenly Wheel Realm expert. However, against a Calamity Realm expert, he would still need to use the Azure Dragon Battle of the Heavens and the 8 Trigrams Transform Dragon. Die for me. Demonic Fire Scarlet Sky Technique. Xiong Kuang, who had already discovered that Qin Yu was not easy to deal with, roared angrily. Demonic fire burned all over his body, covering him from head to toe as he soared into the sky. More than half of the land of the Fire Spirit tribe was covered by the demonic fire. Under the enhancement of the demonic fire, Xiong Kuang's power surged crazily. Soon, he reached the mid-Calamity Realm from the early Calamity Realm. Good, it's time to end this. Azure Dragon Battle the Heavens. Qin Yu's eyes were cold. Although there were no changes on his body, inside his body, under his skin, green dragon scales grew from his flesh, covering his limbs and bones. Immediately, Qin Yu's cultivation rose crazily at an astonishing speed. In the blink of an eye, Qin Yu, who was originally at the perfect Heavenly Yuan stage, had reached the Calamity Realm. How was this possible? Xiong Kuang, who had used the demonic bear tribe's secret technique to increase his cultivation by 2 levels, felt Qin Yu's terrifying increase in cultivation, and his face was filled with shock. Dragon's aura? The half-monster bloodline in his body is the dragon tribe's bloodline? Zhen He and the people from the fire spirit race were even more dumbfounded. They had never seen such a strange and inconceivable thing before. More importantly, Qin Yu's terrifying dragon's aura made the demonic beast tribe bloodline in their bodies tremble instinctively, as if they were facing the ancient Shenron. Not good. At this moment, Xiong Kuang, who was filled with killing intent, immediately made a decision. Without thinking, he turned around and tried to escape. When Qin Yu saw this, a cold smile appeared on his face. It was too late to escape now. Swoosh! In a flash, Qin Yu's figure crossed the void and caught up with Xiong Kuang in an instant. The chaotic dragon spear turned into a ray of chaotic light and disappeared in the void. Puff! Although Xiong Kuang noticed it in time and immediately put up a defense, it was a pity that he could not resist Qin Yu's attack. His entire body was pierced by Qin Yu, and his demonic soul was imprisoned. With a thought, Qin Yu took out Xiong Kuang's demonic soul and refined it to replenish the power of the two spirits in his mind. Xiong Kuang is dead. Seeing that Xiong Kuang, who was at the Calamity Realm, was killed in an instant, Zhan He and the people from the Fire Spirit tribe were stunned. They looked at the dead Xiong Kuang in disbelief. One should know that Xiong Kuang was a Calamity Realm expert. In the Flaming Demon Mountain range, he was worthy of being called the Overlord. However, such an existence was killed by Qin Yu in one blow. How terrifying was Qin Yu's strength? Chapter 719. After killing Xiong Kuang, Qin Yu walked over to Hua Xiao, who was covered in blood. It was unknown whether he was dead or alive. After examining him, Qin Yu found that Hua Xiao's condition was extremely dangerous. It could even be said that he was on the brink of death and could die at any moment. Can my father be saved? Hua Yuaner, Hua Quan, and dozens of other survivors of the fire spirit race gathered around and looked at Qin Yu anxiously and hopefully. They had already examined Hua Xiao's injuries. It was completely beyond saving. If Qin Yu couldn't do anything, then Hua Xiao could only wait for his death. Whether he can live or not will depend on his luck. Qin Yu moved his right hand, and the fire orb that contained the inheritance of the fire river appeared in his hand. Originally, Qin Yu wanted to give the fire orb to Hua Yuaner. After all, in terms of talent, no one in the fire spirit race could compare to Hua Yuaner. However, seeing Hua Xiao's current condition, Qin Yu changed his mind. Given the current situation of the fire spirit race, if Hua Xiao died, then even if they survived the calamity of the bear spirit race, they wouldn't be able to survive in the fire spirit mountain range. This orb, seeing the fire orb in Qin Yu's hand, the fire spirit race members felt their bloodlines being stirred. They wanted to worship it. True Crane's eyes flashed with a bright light. The ripples contained within the bead caused his heart to palpitate. While his heart palpitated, the True Crane also sensed an extremely majestic energy, fluctuation from a bead. If he could refine the orb, then his cultivation would definitely break through to the calamity stage. Of course, in front of Qin Yu, even if Zhan He had such a thought, he still did not dare to reveal it. Even the arrogant Xiong Kuang, who had stepped into the calamity stage, was easily killed by Qin Yu. He didn't want to risk his life. Buzz, buzz. Hua Xiao's body trembled as the fire orb merged with him. Strange flame divine inscriptions covered his entire body. In the next moment, Hua Xiao, who was originally weak and on the verge of death, became stronger at an astonishing speed. His vitality is becoming stronger. His injuries are also recovering. Great! What treasure is that? Hua Yuaner and the other members of the fire spirit race were overjoyed when they sensed it. After encountering a calamity, Hua Xiao was still saved. This was really a great fortune. The Fire Spirit Clan's people were deeply grateful to Qin Yu. As the battle came to an end, the outcome of the battle between the Fire Spirit Clan and the Monstrous Bear Clan quickly spread through the Fire Demon Mountain range. In the Fire Demon Mountain range, the monstrous clans that had originally thought that the Fire Spirit Clan would definitely be exterminated were all extremely shocked upon learning that the Monstrous Bear Clan had been exterminated. After all, judging from the battle prowess displayed by the Demon Bear tribe, other than their lack of foundation, they were already comparable to the top great demon clans in the Fire Demon Mountain range. However, after asking around, no matter how shocked the demonic beasts were, they could only believe that the demonic bear tribe had indeed been exterminated. Even Xiong Kuang, who had obvious traces of a calamity stage expert on his body, was hung outside the valley. For a time, the entire Fire Demon Mountain range became extremely fearful of the Fire Spirit race. They didn't know how the Fire Spirit race which had always been at the bottom of the Fire Demon Mountain range, had hidden such strength. Many monstrous clans that had grudges with the Fire Spirit race in the past directly moved out of the Fire Demon Mountain range. This directly caused the Fire Demon Mountain range to become turbulent as they competed for resources. Of course, the most turbulent was naturally the monstrous bear tribe's territory. After seeing that the Fire Spirit race didn't seem to have any intention of taking over the monstrous bear tribe's territory, the surrounding great demon clans all moved to divide the monstrous bear tribe's territory. 3 days later, at the Fire Spirit race. "Are you leaving?" Huiyuana looked at Qinyu. She had already seen through Qinyu's thoughts. If it weren't for the fact that there had been people spying on the Fire Spirit race's territory these days, Qinyu would have left long ago. "I still have things to do. I can't stay any longer." Qinyu nodded. Not only did the Fire Spirit race have True Crane, who was at the Heavenly Wheel realm, but even Hua Xiao, who had been severely injured and on the verge of death, had also stepped into the Heavenly Wheel realm after fusing with the Fire Pearl. There was no need to worry about the safety of the Fire Spirit race. While protecting the Fire Spirit race, Qinyu hadn't been idle. He had already used a secret technique to determine the location of the Dragon Soul. Now, it was time for Qinyu to leave. "My Fire Spirit race will never forget your kindness. If you need us in the future, my Fire Spirit race will definitely go through water and tread on fire." Huiyuana solemnly bowed to Qinyu when she heard that. If it weren't for Qinyu, the Fire Spirit race would have been completely exterminated. "Consider this as returning the favor for saving my life. We will meet again in the future if fate allows it." Qinyu smiled and strode out of the Fire Spirit race's valley. Huiyuana's lips moved slightly as if she wanted to say something, but in the end, she didn't say anything. She stared blankly at Qinyu's back until Qinyu disappeared. She still hadn't recovered from her shock. That little brat has finally left. When Qinyu left the Fire Spirit race's territory, in the Fire Spirit race that was waiting to be rebuilt at the top of the loft, a figure sitting cross-legged opened his eyes slightly and looked in the direction Qinyu left. He heaved a sigh of relief. This person was the patriarch of the Fire Spirit race, Hua Xiao. But the current Hua Xiao was completely different from before. Not only was his gaze indifferent, but there was also a powerful pressure looming around him. Chirp! At this moment, at the edge of the Fire Demon Mountain range, a large snow-white condor that was several zhang in size flew into the sky, straight into the clouds. It was an Emperor Realm snow eagle with the bloodline of an ancient heavenly pung. It was one of the top monster races in the Fire Spirit Mountain range. But at this moment, there was a figure standing on the back of the large eagle. That person was Qinyu, who had left the Fire Spirit race. According to Qinyu's secret technique, the location of the Dragon Soul was quite far from the Fire Spirit Mountain range. Now, Qinyu was still unable to break free from the pressure of heaven and earth to fly. Naturally, he couldn't reach the location of the Dragon Soul as soon as possible. Therefore, Qinyu casually subdued a snow eagle to ride on his journey. Whoosh, whoosh, whoosh. Above the 9 heavens, the whistling wind was as terrifying as blades. Qinyu stood on the back of the snow eagle and turned a blind eye to those hurricanes. With the current strength of his physical body, how could such a strong gale be taken seriously by him? Qinyu looked down at the landscape of the Fire Spirit Mountain as he traveled. Rumble. After flying for a full 5 days and 5 nights, they passed through a desert. A deafening roar of thunder suddenly came from the sky, accompanied by an extremely violent fluctuation of thunder. Someone is fighting? Qinyu instantly sensed and controlled the snow eagle to fly lower. Not long after, a chaotic battle appeared in front of Qinyu's eyes. In the depths of the desert, there was a mountain-like 2-headed python that was 1,000 feet long. It was crazily swallowing and spitting out green lightning, wantonly destroying everything. Around the 2-headed python, there were more than 10 cultivators who were crazily attacking it. Chapter 720. Heavenly Lightning Twin-Headed Python. Standing on the snow eagle, Yu looks at that two-headed huge python that is swallowing and spitting out thunderbolts with great interest. The heavenly lightning twin-headed python was a descendant of the ancient heavenly lightning python. It had an extremely pure heavenly lightning python bloodline. To Yu, the heavenly lightning twin-headed python bloodline was useless. However, the purple thunder heavenly dragon that Yu had subdued was a lightning-attributed dragon. If he could refine the heavenly lightning twin-headed python bloodline, it would definitely be of great benefit to the purple thunder heavenly dragon. Although the purple thunder heavenly dragon's bloodline was fundamentally stronger than the heavenly lightning twin-headed python's bloodline, it was limited by its cultivation and could not break through to the ancient emperor realm. Therefore, Yu needed some external help to break through the limits of the purple thunder heavenly dragon, golden flame heaven incinerating dragon, and the chaos ancestor dragon. This was also why Yu did not refine all the flames in the mystic realm in the depths of the flaming demon mountain range. Instead, he kept most of them in the chaos dragon world. Otherwise, Yu's cultivation would not have only increased to the full sky yuan realm. After all, the vast sky divine flames in the demon king mystic realm were left behind by a great emperor. As for the dozen or so cultivators attacking the heavenly lightning twin-headed python, their cultivation had all reached the calamity realm. They did not have any demonic aura and looked like they were all humans. However, within their heavenly yuan power, there was an extremely dense and intense demonic qi. The demonic qi was far more terrifying than the extraterritorial demon tribe in the sky region. Rumble. The battle continued. Although it was surrounded, the heavenly lightning twin-headed python did not fall into a disadvantage. Rolling lightning struck recklessly, and even the heavenly wheel realm cultivators did not dare to underestimate it. If not for the dozen or so cultivators who had mastered an extremely mysterious battle formation, they would have been destroyed by the heavenly lightning twin-headed python's attacks. Golden Crow demonic formation. After a long battle, both sides had exhausted much of their cultivation. A gray-eyed man, who was the leader of the cultivators, shouted in a low voice. Immediately, their battle formation changed. Vast heavenly yuan surged out and condensed into 9 dazzling suns in the void. A golden crow appeared in each of the blazing suns. Chirp, chirp, chirp. In the next moment, the 9-headed golden crow, whose entire body was burning with raging flames, suddenly pounced toward the 2-headed heavenly lightning python that was spitting out destructive lightning. However, the flames on the 9-headed golden crow were pitch black and exuded an extremely strange demonic aura. Hiss. Besieged by the 9 blazing golden crows, the sky lightning twin-headed python immediately fell into a disadvantage. The destructive lightning it spat out didn't do much damage to the 9 blazing golden crows. However, the pitch-black flames spat out by the 9-headed golden crows left behind a large area of burn marks on the body of the heavenly lightning twin-headed python. Waves of smoke were emitted. Hold it back and refine it. Seeing that the golden crow demonic formation was indeed able to deal with the heavenly lightning twin-headed python, the gray-eyed man in the lead could not conceal his joy. As long as the descendants of ancient fierce beasts reached adulthood, they would at least be at the Empyrean realm. Right now, this heavenly lightning twin-headed python was currently at the boundary of transforming to Empyrean realm. For the gray-eyed man and the others, this was a rare opportunity. If the heavenly lightning twin-headed python was allowed to complete its metamorphosis and step into the heavenly venerate realm, it would be difficult for them to deal with it no matter how many calamity realm cultivators they had. Rumble. Under the burning of the 9-headed golden crow demonic formation, the injuries on the body of the heavenly lightning twin-headed python became more and more serious. Its mountain-like body rolled crazily, and the earth shook violently as if a mountain flood had erupted. Amidst the tremors, lightning surged like a river, filling the void and destroying everything. However, the more it struggled, the weaker the cultivation of the heavenly lightning twin-headed python became. Not only can it burn its blood, but it can also burn its soul. Qin Yu's eyes flashed as he stood on the snow sculpture and watched the battle quietly. From a certain perspective, the pitch-black flames of the nine-headed golden crows were no weaker than the vast sky, divine flames of the Demon King mystic realm. Of course, Qin Yu had never seen the true might of the Demon King mystic realm, so he could only make a rough comparison. However, this was enough to show how terrifying the pitch-black flames of the nine-headed golden crows were. Whoosh! Seeing that the heavenly lightning twin-headed python was about to reach its limit, Qin Yu did not hesitate. He jumped off the snow sculpture and entered the ground. At this moment, the gray-eyed man, who was the leader of the dozen or so cultivators, seemed to have sensed something and looked back at the snow sculpture that was rising rapidly into the sky. Was it an illusion? Seeing that it was only an Emperor Realm monster beast, the gray-eyed man raised his eyebrows slightly and withdrew his gaze in confusion. Just now, he clearly sensed a trace of fluctuation that made his heart palpitate, but it only lasted for an instant before it disappeared. This made the gray-eyed man unsure whether it was an illusion or not. That is, Hall Master, look! At this moment, the pupils of the Calamity Realm cultivators around the gray-eyed man suddenly shrank, and their expressions changed drastically, as if they had seen something. It was an extremely unbelievable scene. The gray-eyed man hurriedly looked back, and his pupils also shrank sharply. He saw that a figure had appeared in the golden crow demonic array that trapped the heavenly lightning twin-headed python. How did he get in? The gray-eyed man was extremely shocked. The golden crow demonic array that they had set up was an ancient array with a powerful barrier. Even heavenly venerables would find it difficult to break it in a short time. This was also the reason why the heavenly lightning twin-headed python had been unable to break out. But now, someone had snuck into the golden crow demonic array without anyone noticing. This naturally shocked the gray-eyed man and the others. The person who had entered the ancient array was none other than Qin Yu. They saw that Qin Yu's body was burning with golden flames, resisting the golden crow's demonic flames. As for the destructive thunderbolts unleashed by the heavenly lightning twin-headed python, they immediately disappeared when they touched Qin Yu, as if they had been devoured. How dare you ruin our fiend demon sex business? You're courting death. Seeing that Qin Yu had walked to the side of the heavenly lightning twin-headed python, the gray-eyed man's eyes flashed with a chilling light. They had put in a lot of effort to besiege and trap the heavenly lightning twin-headed python just as it was about to break through. Now that they were about to succeed, they naturally couldn't let someone intercept them halfway. Immediately, his killing intent soared as he charged out. Withdraw. Sensing the actions of the fiend demon sect, Qin Yu waved his sleeve and a vast dragon aura descended. Under the attack of the golden crow demonic flames, the bloodline of the heavenly lightning twin-headed python, which had already reached its limit, was immediately suppressed to the extreme. Its mountain-like body collapsed with a loud bang, kicking up a cloud of dust. With a thought, Qin Yu immediately withdrew the heavenly lightning twin-headed python into the ancient dragon god seal. Seeing that the 9 golden crows had lost their target and were flying towards him, Qin Yu didn't hesitate. The yin-yang escape talisman in his hand glowed, and he instantly disappeared into the ground. Damn it, who the hell is it? By the time the gray-eyed man and the others charged into the golden crow demonic array, Qin Yu had already disappeared without a trace. This caused the gray-eyed man and the others to fly into a rage, their killing intent shocking the heavens. Chapter 721. By now, Qin Yu was already far away from the fiend demon sect. With Qin Yu's current fighting strength, he was not afraid of the fiend demon sect. However, since he had the two-headed heavenly lightning python, there was no need for Qin Yu to fight them. After emerging from the ground, Qin Yu came to the peak of a mountain. After extracting the ancient heavenly lightning python's bloodline power from the body of the two-headed heavenly lightning python, Qin Yu threw it into the Chaos Dragon realm for the purple Thunder Divine Dragon to refine. Qin Yu only had 3 dragons in the Eternal Dragon realm. They were the Chaos Ancestor Dragon, the golden flames heaven incinerating dragon, and the purple thunder divine dragon. This caused Qin Yu to feel even more strongly that he needed to search for the dragon clan. Otherwise, he did not know how long it would take to complete his grand plan for the eternal dragon realm. Among the three dragons, the one with the strongest cultivation was the chaotic ancestor dragon. The chaos ancestor dragon was already at the peak of the martial emperor realm, and had fused with the chaotic chi and dragon emperor blood essence in the heaven domain. He was now in seclusion, and when he woke up, he would step into the 9th tier of the heavenly Tao. Given the terrifying talents of the dragons, once they broke through the limits of the heaven domain, their cultivation would erupt like a volcano. The golden flames heaven incinerating dragon and the purple thunder divine dragon had also reached the ancient emperor realm and were trying to break through. It would not be difficult for them to reach the 9th tier of the heavenly Tao. Chirp! After about an hour, a sharp chirp rang out. A snow-white light descended from the sky, landing on the mountain peak like a bolt of lightning. It was the snow sculpture that Qin Yu had branded. It had followed its senses. With a flying leap, Qin Yu climbs onto the snow eagle and flies away. After flying for another 10 days, Qin Yu came to the edge of a huge lake as vast as the sea. In the distant lake, there was a huge island like an ancient beast entrenched there. Demonic chi filled the sky. Qin Yu did not take the risk and rushed directly into the lake. That was because the entire lake was covered by an ancient spirit formation. Once one passed through it, one would be detected by the spirit formation. Qin Yu was now certain that the dragon soul that had fallen into the fire domain with him was on that giant island. Qin Yu had already investigated the island. It was Beast King Island, one of the overlords in the western part of the fire domain. It could be said that more than half of the Demon Clan warriors in the western part of the fire domain had gathered on Beast King Island. It was rumored that there was a quintessential Saint Stage powerhouse guarding the Beast King Island. In the fire domain, a quintessential Saint Stage existence was already considered a top existence. After circling around the lakeside for a while, Qin Yu jumped off the snow eagle and performed a secret sensing technique. With the barrier around the giant lake, it was very difficult for Qin Yu to determine where the dragon soul was on the Beast King Island. But with Qin Yu's current distance, if he used the secret technique, the dragon soul would definitely be able to sense it. As long as the dragon soul responded, Qin Yu could directly use the yin-yang escape talisman to sneak in and rescue the dragon soul. To be honest, Qin Yu was not worried about the dragon soul's safety, because even if the dragon soul's physical body was destroyed, its soul would return to the ancient seal of the divine dragon. However, if that happened, it would cause great damage to the dragon soul. Not only would its cultivation be greatly reduced, but it would also harm its origin. Unless it was absolutely necessary, Qin Yu naturally did not want the dragon soul to destroy its body. Buzz. Sure enough, after Qin Yu used his secret technique, a weak energy fluctuation was emitted from the Beast King Island. Qin Yu's eyes flashed, and he immediately dove into the ground and into the giant lake. Roar! At this time, in the depths of Beast King Island, an ancient cave filled with cold air, came a dragon roar that resounded through the 9 heavens. The deafening dragon roar contained a supreme dragon's might, causing countless demonic tribe experts on Beast King Island to feel their beast souls tremble. Their bloodline power was suppressed to the extreme. What a terrifying dragon power! On Beast King Island, countless Demon Clan warriors looked toward the depths of Beast King Island. Many who did not know were guessing that there was a Demon Clan warrior on the island who had awakened the Dragon Clan bloodline. However, those who knew the inside story knew that this was the dragon power of the Dragon Clan that the Island Master had imprisoned some time ago. It seemed that the Island Master was still unable to subdue the Dragon Clan after such a long time. That made sense. The Dragon Clan was a lofty and noble existence to the Demon Clan. Naturally, they would not submit to the Demon Clan. Roar! At this time, in the ancient cave filled with cold air, the dragon soul that was 100 feet tall and covered in light black dragon scales with chaotic dragon patterns constantly roared. The dragon soul's entire body was pierced through by ancient and mysterious bronze chains, and at the end of each chain was an ancient cauldron. Strands of pure dragon blood were flowing along the bronze chains into the ancient cauldron. I thought that you had already accepted your fate. It seems that you still won't give up. A deep laugh sounded, and a man with a horn on his head and wearing a luxurious robe appeared. Old thief, you can laugh now. When I break free from this seal, your death will come. A cold light flickered in the dragon soul's eyes. The dragon soul's luck was not as good as Chinyu's. After it was severely injured and fell into the fire domain, it was captured by the people of Beast King Island. A living Dragon Clan warrior was a supreme treasure to the Demon Clan of Beast King Island. Therefore, Beast King Island had been trying to subdue the dragon soul during this period. However, after trying all kinds of secret techniques and discovering that there was no way to control the dragon soul, they could only settle for the next best thing, which was to extract the Dragon Clan bloodline from the dragon soul. As for the dragon soul's soul, they would slowly think of a way in the future. You still haven't accepted reality after falling to this point. You still want to break free from the seal? I advise you to break the seal on your soul and cooperate with us. Only then will you have a way to survive. Otherwise, this 18 evil ghost cauldron will devour you until your bones and soul are gone. Yuan Yu crossed his arms and tried to persuade the dragon soul again. It was because of the complicated seal in the dragon soul's soul that they could not control it. If it was not a last resort, they would not be willing to destroy the dragon soul of a real Dragon Clan warrior. Oof. The dragon's soul snorted coldly and did not say anything else. Although Beast King Island had a powerful barrier, the dragon's soul could still sense that Chinyu was not dead. Furthermore, he had clearly come to the edge of Beast King Island just now. This naturally made the dragon's soul excited. As long as Chinyu came, it would kill until a river of blood flowed on Beast King Island. Watch carefully and continue to refine it. Seeing how stubborn the dragon soul was, Yuan Yu shook his head and sealed the dragon blood in the 18 cauldrons into a jade bottle before turning around and leaving. There were still 18 Demon Clan warriors in the ancient cave. Each of them was in charge of a bronze cauldron to maintain the operation of the 18 evil ghost cauldrons. After leaving the ancient cave, Yuan Yu came to the center of Beast King Island and entered a magnificent hall. Island Lord, today's dragon blood has been collected. After arriving at the magnificent hall, Yuan Yu respectfully took out the sealed dragon blood. Very good. A joyful voice sounded. A burly figure was sitting on the main seat of the hall. With a move of his finger, the dragon blood in Yuan Yu's hand fell into his hand. This person was the Island Lord of Beast King Island, Su Jing. Chapter 722. I've already refined the dragon blood 87 times. I just need to refine it 12 more times, and my bloodline will completely revert to its ancestral form. After Yuan Yu left, Su Jing looked at the strands of extremely pure dragon blood in the jade bottle in his hand. He could not hide the joy in his eyes. The cultivation of the monster race was different from that of the other races. The monster race relied heavily on the power of their bloodline. The stronger their bloodline, the stronger their cultivation and talent. If they could refine their bloodline power to the point of reverting to their ancestral form, their potential would reach a heaven-defying level. Ever since he had captured the dragon soul, Su Jing had been making arrangements to refine the dragon bloodline and fuse it into his bloodline to undergo a metamorphosis. Without hesitation, Su Jing entered the depths of the hall with the jade bottle in his hand. In an inner hall, there was an extremely profound ancient formation in the inner hall. As Su Jing entered, countless ancient formation runes gathered in the center of the ancient formation, forming an altar. At a glance, the altar looked like a ferocious beast that gave off an ancient aura. Buzz, buzz. As Su Jing poured the dragon blood in the jade bottle onto the ancient formation altar, the altar immediately trembled as if the ferocious beast was rampaging. Its aura became even more terrifying. In the next moment, Countless strands of blood rose from the ferocious beast and fused into the acupoints all over Su Jing's body. Su Jing's expression brightened as a layer of ethereal light appeared around him, forming a vast sea. His entire body flickered in and out of existence as if he was hidden in the sea. After a long while, the ethereal light around Su Jing gradually dissipated, revealing his true body. One could clearly sense that Su Jing's aura had changed. Although his cultivation had not increased, his aura seemed to have undergone some sort of metamorphosis. As expected of the dragon race bloodline, Su Jing could not hide the joy on his face when he sensed the changes in his bloodline. He had taken another big step towards reverting his bloodline to its ancestral form. The strength of the dragon race's bloodline was indeed well-deserved. Actually, Su Jing was really lucky. The dragon soul was born in the body of a mortal ancient Shenron and awakened the bloodline of a mortal ancient Shenron. This was why the dragon soul's bloodline was far superior to ordinary dragons. Otherwise, if it were an ordinary dragon, even if his cultivation level had reached the 9th firmament of the heavenly Tao, the dragon blood would not have such miraculous effects. I didn't expect Brother Tian Jing's true form to be the legendary void dark whale that only exists in the sea. Just as Su Jing dispersed the formation and was about to leave, a light laughter rang out. The corners of Su Jing's eyes twitched as he stopped in his tracks. He tilted his head slightly and smiled. When did Mr. Qi arrive? In the direction that Su Jing was looking at, a middle-aged man with an extraordinary bearing dressed in a blazing robe appeared. I've been here for quite a while. Qi Liwei walked over and sized Su Jing up. It seems like Brother Su Jing's injuries have completely healed. I'm afraid you don't need the Fire God Palace's sacred medicine anymore. Clearly, Qi Liwei had also noticed that the Void Jing bloodline had changed. I never imagined that there would be a dragon tribe in the fire domain. After merging with the dragon tribe's bloodline, not only did my injuries recover, even my bloodline underwent a transformation. Of course, I will never forget Mr. Qi's kindness. Su Jing's eyes flickered. Since Qi Liwei had been here for quite a while, he must have seen the dragon tribe's blood essence. Su Jing did not hide anything and spoke directly. The rumors are true. Brother Tian Jing's luck is heaven-defying. You really caught a dragon tribe member. I'm so envious. Qi Liwei's eyes flashed when he heard Su Jing's words. He was still skeptical at first. However, now that Su Jing had admitted it personally, it was probably true. Why? Mr. Qi, are you also interested in the dragon tribe? Su Jing's eyebrows twitched when he saw Qi Liwei's expression. Could Qi Liwei's target be the dragon tribe at his hands? However, Qi Liwei was a human and not a demon. Why would he want the dragon tribe? Did he want to subdue it? The dragon tribe is really useless to me. However, Qi Liwei chuckled. Mr. Qi, please speak your mind. Su Jing asked directly when he saw the situation. Since Brother Tian Jing is a straightforward person, I shall not hide it from you. The dragon tribe is useless to me, but it's something that the palace master of the Fire God Palace urgently needs. Qi Liwei said, could it be that the palace master of the Fire God Palace is a demon? Su Jing was a little surprised. My palace master is not a demon. However, he has a dragon tribe member in his hands. Qi Liwei said slowly. The Fire God Palace has a dragon tribe member? Su Jing was shocked. One should know that the dragon tribe was an innate life form. It was an extremely rare life form, even in the Ten-Corner world. The Fire Territory was just an insignificant martial territory in the Great Spirit world. How could there be two dragon tribes? This is a top secret in the Fire God Palace. If it wasn't for my master, I wouldn't have known about it. Brother Tian Jing, now you understand why I'm here. Qi Liwei nodded and said, your palace master wants to merge the dragon tribe bloodline? Su Jing pondered for a moment and immediately understood. The dragon tribe bloodline could transform the demon tribe bloodline. Naturally, the dragon tribe bloodline would be greatly beneficial to the dragon tribe as well. However, if the two of them were to fuse, then one of them would definitely die as a result. That's right. Qi Liwei looked deeply at Su Jing. If Su Jing did not agree, he would have to take action. The Beast King Island was an overlord force in the western part of the Fire Territory. However, the Fire God Palace was one of the top forces in the entire Fire Territory. If the experts from the Fire God Palace came, the Beast King Island would be destroyed in an instant. Mr. Qi, you saved my life, so I won't hide it from you. My name is Su Jing, and my original form is the Void Dark Whale. I came from the Sea God Palace in the Sea region. I was plotted against and ended up in the Fire Territory. Now, it's an important moment for my bloodline to transform. Could Mr. Qi make an exception and report this to your palace master later? If Mr. Qi agrees, I will be very grateful. Su Jing knew that since the Fire God Palace had their eyes on the Dragon Tribe, he could not protect them with his current strength. Hence, he could only use other means. He believed that with the Sea God Palace behind him, Qi Li Wei would be wary of him. Sea Region? Su Jing, you are the young island master of the Sea God Palace. Qi Li Wei's eyes flashed with surprise. Although he knew that Su Jing had a powerful background when he saw his original form, he did not expect him to be the young palace master of the Sea God Palace. The Sea Region and the Fire Territory were both in the Great Spirit World. However, compared to the Fire Territory, the Sea Region was much more powerful. As for the Sea God Palace, it was a true giant that had completely unified the Sea Region. It was famous even in the Great Spirit World. Compared to the Fire God Palace, it was much stronger. Su Jing's intention in revealing his identity and background at this time couldn't be any more obvious. Chapter 723. That's right. I am the current young master of the Sea God Palace. If Mr. Qi agrees to my request, I will offer the dragon race to you with both hands after my bloodline has undergone ancestral awakening. If you don't agree, I will have no choice but to send a secret message back to the Sea Realm. I believe that with the allure of the dragon race, all the sea monsters in the Sea Realm will be mobilized. Su Jing nodded and decided to make things clear. Then how can I believe that you won't go back on your word after your bloodline has undergone ancestral awakening? Qi Li Wei pondered for a long time before looking at Su Jing solemnly. It's very simple. Once my bloodline has undergone ancestral awakening, I will return to the Sea Realm and become the master of the Sea God Palace. The entire Sea Realm will be under my control. Mr. Qi, do you think that I will tell the Sea Realm races about the dragon race at that time? Su Jing said directly. Indeed, since the dragon race bloodline can allow your bloodline to undergo ancestral awakening, it will definitely be able to allow the other sea monsters in the Sea Realm to undergo ancestral awakening as well. There will be no benefits for Brother Su Jing if this news is spread. Qi Li Wei quickly understood the meaning of Su Jing's words. If Su Jing was the only one in the Sea God Palace who had undergone ancestral awakening, his position as master would be unshakable. If other sea monsters also underwent ancestral awakening, although the Sea God's Island would become stronger, Su Jing's position would also be challenged. Qi Li Wei and Su Jing, who had reached an agreement, immediately relaxed. While the two of them were probing each other, Su Jing and Su Jing continued to probe each other. In the depths of the Beast King Island, in the ancient cave filled with cold air, the dragon soul that was originally sealed by the 18 evil spirit cauldrons suddenly opened its eyes, and excitement appeared in the dragon's eyes. He's finally here. The dragon soul could sense that Qin Yu's aura had already arrived in the ancient cave. Although it didn't know how Qin Yu had passed through the layers of restrictions, it was certain that Qin Yu had already entered the ancient cave. Clang, clang, clang. The dragon soul that had calmed down began to struggle again. Dragon chi spread from its body as a vast dragon might swept out. The 18 heavenly wheel stage, Yao cultivators guarding the area, simultaneously looked towards the dragon soul as they poured all their strength into the heavenly Yuan ancient cauldron. Although the dragon soul was suppressed by the 18 evil spirit cauldrons, they did not dare to relax for even a moment. In the beginning, the dragon soul had almost broken free from the suppression and escaped. Rise! However, Even as the 18 demonic cultivators were completely focused on suppressing the dragon's soul, a voice suddenly echoed out. In the blink of an eye, 8 beams of light appeared around the 18 heavenly wheel, staged demon cultivators, and the 18 ancient cauldrons. Every 8 beams of light formed an individual sealing ancient formation that was filled with supreme divine might. Who is it? The 18 heavenly wheel realm beast cultivators all paled in shock and disbelief. The Isla Master had already laid down layers upon layers of restrictions. Under such heavy security, how could anyone possibly break in? Destroy! Another low cry appeared. Immediately, those ancient sealing formations began to tremble gently, following which an extremely majestic and frightening destructive force suddenly filled all of the ancient formations. Accompanied by shrill and miserable howls, the 18 heavenly wheel stage demon cultivators were turned into ashes before they could even react. Their souls were completely scattered. Crack! The 18 evil spirit cauldrons were also affected by the destructive force. The 18 bronze chains shattered inch by inch and could no longer suppress the dragon soul. Boom! The moment it broke free, the dragon soul's huge tail swept across, and the 18 ancient cauldrons were directly pulverized by the dragon soul's physical strength. The traces of essence blood that had been extracted also completely merged into the dragon soul's body. The bloodline is damaged. As the dragon soul merged with the dragon blood, Qin emerged from the ground with a flash of light. After carefully sensing the dragon soul's condition, a cold glint flashed across his eyes. One should know that the dragon soul that had awakened the immortal ancient Shenron bloodline was even stronger than the primal chaos ancestor dragon. If it could not recover, it would have a huge impact on the dragon soul's potential. 30% of the bloodline has been extracted, but it's fine. It's not that easy to refine my bloodline. The dragon soul's face revealed a ferocious expression. As it spoke, the dragon aura around the dragon soul boiled, and the space around it became distorted. That was the power of time and space continuously recovering. Originally, with the dragon soul's superpower of time and space, even if it could not defeat the enemy, it would be easily captured. Unfortunately, when it was in the world sea, the dragon soul was violently impacted by the spatial turbulence, causing it to be severely injured. That was why it was captured by the people of Beast King Island. They seemed to have sensed it. Qin Yu, who was guarding beside the dragon soul, suddenly raised his eyebrows. He sensed thousands of tyrannical auras crazily rushing towards the ancient cold chi cave. Among the thousands of people, the weakest was at the heavenly origin realm. There were also many heavenly wheel realm and heavenly calamity realm cultivators. In addition, there were more than 10 extremely oppressive auras. Not only are there heavenly venerables, but there are also heavenly saint realm cultivators. Qin Yu's eyes flashed. The dozen or so extremely oppressive auras were obviously heavenly venerables and heavenly saint realm cultivators. Immediately, Qin Yu waved his sleeve, and the dragon soul entered the ancient divine dragon seal. Under the primal chaos dragon realm and the ancient divine dragon seal, the dragon soul's cultivation recovered at an astonishing speed. Of course, it was impossible for the dragon soul to recover to its peak after losing 30% of the dragon clan's bloodline. Even if it regained its lost bloodline, it would need to recuperate for a period of time to recover its vitality. After keeping the dragon's soul, Qin Yu did not leave. He held the long spear in his hand and calmly stood in the same spot. Although Qin Yu's cultivation was only at the complete heavenly origin realm, Qin Yu was not afraid of the heavenly venerables and heavenly saint realm cultivators who were about to arrive. Qin Yu dared to sneak into Beast King Island alone, so he naturally had a foolproof plan. Swoosh! Swoosh! In the blink of an eye, figures with astonishing demonic auras rushed into the ancient cave. When they saw the destroyed 18 evil ghost cauldrons and the dragon soul that had disappeared, the demonic cultivators who came looked at Qin Yu with murderous intent. There was only Qin Yu in the ancient cave. Obviously, the person who destroyed the 18 evil ghost cauldrons and rescued the dragon soul was Yu. Human clan? No, he has the demonic clan's bloodline in his body. Half demonic body? This guy is only at the heavenly origin realm. How'd he get in? That's not the point. The dragon clan's whereabouts is the key. The powerful demonic cultivators who came in were originally quite cautious. However, when they saw that the intruder, Yu, was only at the heavenly origin realm, they were immediately surprised and began to discuss among themselves. Boom! Suddenly, an extremely angry aura descended like a volcano that was about to erupt. This made the demonic cultivators who were discussing among themselves tremble and immediately fall silent. Of course, they knew that the owner of the angry aura was Island Master Su Jing. If they spoke too much and angered the Island Master, they would be torn to shreds. Sure enough, as the void rippled, two figures with terrifying auras appeared in the void. The two of them were Su Jing and Qi Wei. Chapter 724. Hand over the Dragon Tribe. Otherwise, I will let you know what it means to beg for death. Seeing that the dragon's soul had disappeared and was replaced by Yu, Su Jing's face was terrifyingly gloomy. Terrifying murderous intent filled the air. Seeing that his bloodline was only a dozen times away from atavism, Su Jing could not hide his murderous intent when someone dared to target the Dragon Tribe at this time. Of course, despite his murderous intent, Su Jing did not directly take action. This was because he suspected that Yu had some relationship with the Fire God Palace behind Qi Wei. After all, Qi Wei had just found him, and Yu had appeared to kidnap the Dragon Tribe. In Su Jing's opinion, this was too much of coincidence. Brother Su Jing, this person has nothing to do with the Fire God Palace. If the Fire God Palace really wanted to take action, they would not have sent a mere heavenly Yuan realm cultivator and trapped him here. Noticing Su Jing's gaze, Qi Wei immediately reacted and said, "It's fine." Qi Wei's words made Su Jing feel at ease. As long as it was not someone from the Fire God Palace, he was not afraid of any faction in the fire domain. Men, capture him. I want to know who sent him here. Su Jing immediately gave the order with murderous intent. He had kept the news of the Dragon Tribe sealed on the Beast King Island. He wanted to find out who dared to play tricks behind his back. If there really was someone from the Beast King Island with evil intentions, he would kill one as an example to others. Yes, as soon as Su Jing's voice fell, dozens of heavenly wheel realm demons immediately pounced on Yu. Billowing demonic aura swept out as a series of demonic secret techniques with destructive murderous intent covered the space around Yu. Judging from the terrifying aura, even a Calamity Realm cultivator would not be able to withstand such an attack, let alone a Heavenly Yuan Realm cultivator. Thousand illusionary shadows Dao. However, at this moment, thousands of rays of black light bloomed from Yu's body. The illusory black light was so dreamy that no one could tell if it was real or fake. It filled the entire icy ancient cave. Rumble. In the next moment, a deafening explosion resounded. The killing moves executed by the dozens of heavenly wheel stage Yao cultivators all landed on empty air. They didn't even hit Yu in the slightest. The Umbra Thousand Illusions Dao was the Umbra Dream Dragon's ultimate ability. Although the shadowy Illusion Dragon and the bloodthirsty Sky-Killing Dragon had refused to submit to Yu had refined them and fed them to the Golden Flame, Sky-Incinerating Dragon, and the others. However, Yu had mastered their dragon race's divine abilities. The Thousand Serene Shadows Dao was a divine ability that could evolve endless illusions. It was precisely because of this that the attacks of the dozens of Heavenly Wheel Stage demon cultivators all missed. Not a single one of them managed to hit Yu. Because at this moment, the dozens of demonic beast cultivators that were touched by the black light all fell into the illusion. Bloodthirsty hell. The instant the Thousand Umbra illusionary path was unleashed, A bloody fog that was filled with dense, killing intent erupted from Qin Yu's body like a surging wave. More than half of the cold, ancient cave had turned into a blood-red world. Puff, puff, puff. The sound of flesh being pierced rang out one after another. The dozens of demonic beast cultivators that had fallen into the illusion were swallowed by the bloody fog before they could break free from the illusion. In an instant, all of them died, and a thick smell of blood filled the air. This sudden, unforeseen event caused everyone on the Beast King Island to be greatly shocked. The shock on their faces could not be concealed. A perfect heavenly yuan stage had killed dozens of heavenly wheel stage demon cultivators in an instant. If they had not seen it with their own eyes, they would not have believed it even if they were beaten to death. This person is strange. He must have deliberately concealed his cultivation level. Yuan Yu, who was about to attack, narrowed his eyes. He could not hide the fear in his eyes. To be able to kill dozens of heavenly wheel stage demon cultivators in an instant, Qin Yu's cultivation level was definitely higher than the heavenly yuan stage. At the very least, he was at the heavenly disaster stage. He might have even reached the heavenly venerate stage, or even the stronger heavenly saint stage. Therefore, even Yuan Yu, whose cultivation level had reached the heavenly venerate stage, was somewhat fearful. He did not dare to act rashly for fear of falling into Qin Yu's trap. Illusion? Boundary? No. There is also the fluctuation of an array. Qi Li Wei, who was from the Fire God Palace, immediately recovered from a shock. With his cultivation level at the Sky Saint stage, he could naturally see the power of Qin Yu's superpower at a glance. In addition to the two superpowers, Qin Yu had been able to erupt with such terrifying power. More importantly, Qin Yu had borrowed the power of the array. Qi Li Wei spread out his senses and probed the array that Qin Yu had set up. However, the more he probed, the more shocked Qi Li Wei was. This was because he sensed that the fluctuation of the array that was triggered by Qin Yu had covered the entire Beast King Island. Such terrifying array attainments meant that he had at least reached the level of a Saint Array Master. Naturally, Qi Li Wei found it hard to believe. Even in the entire Fire Domain, there were only a few Saint Array Masters. Where did Qin Yu come from? Dragon Clan superpower and Dragon Clan bloodline. At this moment, Su Jing, who had been surging with killing intent, was overjoyed. That was because not only was he able to tell that what Qin Yu had used was a Dragon Clan's divine ability, he had also sensed an extremely pure Dragon Clan's bloodline fluctuation from Qin Yu's body. Although it was extremely weak, Su Jing, who had refined Dragon Clan bloodline, would never be wrong. In fact, the Dragon Clan bloodline in Qin Yu's body was no weaker than the Dragon Clan soul. This naturally made Su Jing overjoyed. After all, this was a heaven-defying opportunity that had come to him. To the Monster Clan, it was a supreme treasure that could only be found by chance. Heavenly stellar divine light. Seeing that the people on Beast King Island were stunned, Qin Yu's gaze fell on Su Jing. He used the Dragon Clan superpower again. A solid beam of heavenly stellar divine light that contained immeasurable power instantly broke through the void and attacked Su Jing. It was so fast that it was like a meteor streaking across the sky. No one could see its shadow at all. Just like how Su Jing could sense the Dragon Clan bloodline in Qin Yu's body, Qin Yu could also clearly sense the Dragon Clan bloodline in Su Jing's body that he had refined. Naturally, Qin Yu directly attacked Su Jing. Qin Yu had now gathered the power of the ley lines of the entire Beast King Island. His battle prowess had reached the advanced heavenly venerate realm. He did not fear Su Jing, who was at the Sky Saint realm. Child's play. Su Jing sneered. He did not seem to move, but the void in front of him rippled slightly, and a hazy, illusory light appeared. The heavenly stellar divine light that contained the power to destroy stars was annihilated by the void. It really is a void superpower. After sensing it, Qi Li Wei's eyes were filled with intense fear. His cultivation was much stronger than Su Jing's. However, as a member of the Void Dark Whale clan, Su Jing's void superpower was enough to allow him to fight opponents above his level. A branch of the space-time Tao. Qin Yu sensed it slightly, but his expression did not change at all. Chapter 725. Although Su Jing's void divine ability seemed wondrous, it was only a subdivine ability of the Tao of space and time that was related to space. If the Dragon Soul's cultivation was not so weak, it could crush him with just a thought using the space-time Tao. Swoosh! After breaking Qin Yu's attack, Su Jing's figure flashed and turned into a ray of light. As Su Jing charged out, void chains appeared in the void. They were formed by the void power and were impossible to defend against. Qin Yu did not bother to dodge Su Jing's attack at all. In the blink of an eye, Qin Yu was bound by the void chains and was completely sealed. You have guts to barge into the forbidden area of the Beast King Island alone. Unfortunately, you're too weak. Su Jing appeared in front of Qin Yu like a shadow, his eyes filled with greed and joy. He was caught so easily. Yuan Yu, who was extremely wary of Qin Yu, was surprised when he saw Su Jing seal Qin Yu as soon as he attacked. The super power killing skill that Qin Yu had just used could threaten a quintessential saint. How could he be suppressed so easily? Something's not right. When Qi Li Wei, who was watching from the sidelines, saw that Qin Yu's gaze was cold and calm from the beginning to the end, a bad feeling arose in his heart. Just as he was about to warn Qin Yu, he saw that the space around Qin Yu, who was originally sealed and unable to move, suddenly started to violently vibrate. The chains of nothingness that originally bound Qin Yu started to shatter inch by inch in the midst of the spatial vibration. The power of space-time. Su Jing's expression changed drastically when he sensed it. The space-time Tao was the perfect counter to the void superpower of the Void Dark Whale clan. Once he thought of this, Su Jing knew that he had been tricked by Qin Yu. He immediately wanted to use his secret technique to escape. Azure Dragon fights the heavens. 8 trigrams battle dragon. However, Qin Yu, who was prepared, would not let Su Jing escape. Qin Yu suddenly attacked. The chaotic dragon spear pierced through the air like a ferocious dragon. Above the chaotic dragon spear, there was a huge 8 trigrams dragon formation that contained unparalleled destructive power. Qin Yu's cultivation base had already reached the mastery heavenly venerate realm with the help of the Earth Vein's power on the Beast King Island. Now that he had used the Azure Dragon fights the heavens to increase his cultivation base, his battle prowess had skyrocketed and was comparable to a quintessential saint. Puffed. Su Jing's divine power was restrained, and he was caught off guard. The chaotic dragon spear pierced through him. A vast dragon might radiated from the chaotic dragon spear, directly suppressing Su Jing's bloodline and soul. This caused Su Jing, who was already in a precarious situation, to suffer one disaster after another. Might of the Dragon Clans, might of the Dragon Clans, might was Dragon's mightses was Dragon Soul. Churning seawater appeared around Su Jing as fresh blood spurted out. A huge illusory figure also appeared. Might's heavenly forces was Might's. Fire God Art, incinerate. Qi Li Wei finally made his move when he saw that Su Jing was about to be killed by Qin Yu. Qi Li Wei formed a seal with his hands and charged out, his body burning with flames. Qi Li Wei's body burned fiercely as he charged out, turning him into a flaming giant. Qi Li Wei, who had turned into a flaming giant, threw a punch at Qin Yu. A huge whirlpool of flames appeared in the air, incinerating everything that was sucked into it. Qi Li Wei was clearly waiting for the right moment to make his move. If Qin Yu insisted on killing Su Jing, he would also suffer from Qi Li Wei's destructive attack. At that time, both sides would suffer great losses. Mid-quintessential saint realm? Qin Yu's cold gaze didn't change at all. Qi Li Wei's cultivation base was higher than Su Jing's, and his timing was extremely vicious. However, Qin Yu wasn't afraid at all. Space-time mirage. As the Dragon Soul's cold voice sounded from the ancient Dragon God seal, ripples appeared in the air with Qin Yu at the center. In the next instant, a white light flashed, and Qin Yu, Su Jing, and Qi Liwei all disappeared from the ancient cave. The bloody mist that had filled half of the ancient cave gradually dissipated with Qin Yu's disappearance. What's going on? Is it an illusion? No, it's not an illusion. Isla Master has indeed disappeared. What a strong spatial fluctuation. Is this the legendary space-time teleportation? Yuan Yu and the other experts of the Beast King Island were extremely shocked when they saw Qin Yu and the other two disappear in an instant. They hurriedly gathered and started to discuss spiritedly. Bloodline sense. After Yuan Yu examined his surroundings with rapt attention, he suddenly took out a piece of ancient jade and formed a seal with his hands, forming an ancient seal on the ancient jade. As the ancient jade glowed, a special fluctuation spread out and merged into the air. Buzz! Buzz! A moment later, the ancient jade trembled slightly. Isla Master is still here. He hasn't disappeared. Activate the array immediately and seal this place. Seeing the ancient jade tremble, Yuan Yu, who had a grave expression, immediately gave the order to be on guard. Immediately, the experts of the Beast King Island moved. With the ancient cave as the center, they were on guard and completely sealed it off. At this moment, in the space-time mirage, Qin Yu held the chaotic dragon spear in his hand. At the tip of the spear was a 400-foot-tall blue whale that was suppressed by the dragon's aura. The blue whale was Su Jing's true body, the Void Dark Whale. Su Jing had the Void Divine power and was even more difficult to deal with than Qi Liwei. Unfortunately, he had been careless and had fallen into Qin Yu's trap. Dozens of feet away from Qin Yu, Qi Liwei, who had transformed into a flame giant, was staring at Qin Yu with extreme vigilance. While he was on guard, Qi Liwei was also looking for a way out of the space-time mirage. To be honest, Qi Liwei regretted making a move. He had thought that he could use the opportunity to save Su Jing, but he hadn't expected Qin Yu to have such a trick up his sleeve. When Qi Liwei had attacked, Qin Yu had been less than 10 feet away from him. However, after using the space-time mirage, the distance between them had increased by dozens of feet. Qi Liwei was extremely shocked by Su Jing's ability to control space. If he were to possess such a remarkable spatial ability, then to a certain degree, Qin Yu would already be in an undefeatable position. Of course, the only thing that made Qi Liwei rejoice was that after entering this space, Qin Yu's cultivation level dropped like it was jumping off a cliff. Qin Yu's original battle strength had reached the Sky Saint stage, but now it was at most the Heavenly Calamity stage. This was because the Earth Vein energy gathered by the Beast King Island could no longer strengthen Qin Yu. Of course, since Qin Yu had used the space-time mirage, he must have known this. Under such circumstances, Qin Yu had still used the space-time mirage. This meant that he must have other means to protect himself. Whoosh! While Qi Liwei was on guard, a light flashed and appeared beside Qin Yu. It was the dragon soul in human form. Chapter 726. Pa! The dragon's soul struck out with its palm. Layers of spatial energy appeared and covered Su Jing's body. In the next instant, the void shook and Su Jing disappeared. The dragon soul gave Qi Liwei a cold glance and entered the ancient seal of the divine dragon. Who are you? Seeing Qin Yu looking at him coldly, Qi Liwei felt a sense of danger and became more vigilant. Whoosh! However, Qin Yu's answer to Qi Liwei's question was his body flashing and rushing forward at an extremely fast speed. However, given Qin Yu's current level of power, the extremely fast body maneuvering skill he uses is easily seen through by Qi Liwei. Secret technique, stacking flames technique. Qi Liwei did not show any mercy and attacked with a killing move. Layers of raging flames surged out and covered a radius of several hundred feet. Qin Yu, who was rushing out at an extremely fast speed, was naturally the main target. Explode. Then, Qi Liwei yelled. The surging flames suddenly exploded violently, like a volcanic eruption that could burn everything in the world. Qi Liwei did not relax after using the Fire God Palace's secret technique. He did not think that the stacking flames technique would be able to kill Qin Yu. He was waiting for Qin Yu to reveal his trump card. Whoosh, whoosh. All the flames were swallowed by the vortex of flames, and Qin Yu, who was originally covered in flames, was revealed. But this time, apart from Qin Yu, there was another flaming skeleton. Just now, Qi Liwei's secret flame technique had been completely devoured by the blazing skeleton. After devouring the destructive flames, the flaming skeleton seemed to have awakened and emitted a monstrous aura. Two clusters of pale, gray flames danced in its empty eyes. Huizhang's heavenly god realm flaming skeleton was Qin Yu's true killing move. Back then, when Qin Yu obtained this skeleton, he discovered that the raging flame skeleton was perfectly sealed. As long as it was handled properly, it would be able to unleash the cultivation of the raging flame skeleton. Therefore, Qin Yu decided to fuse the skeleton Ghost King with the flaming skeleton. Although the two had yet to merge completely, the skeleton Ghost King's strength had undergone an earth-shattering change. A heavenly god puppet. Ever since the skeleton Ghost King appeared, Qi Liwei's gaze had been fixed on the skeleton Ghost King. The aura that the skeleton Ghost King exuded was undoubtedly left behind by a heavenly god. Qin Yu actually had a puppet of such a level. This made Qi Liwei feel even more uneasy. Looking at the heavenly god realm puppet, Qin Yu's background might not be any weaker than the Fire God Palace. Space-time ancient slaughtering formation. Qin Yu charged out once again. This time, as the chaotic dragon spear stabbed out, a towering ancient formation appeared in the void and pressed down on Qi Liwei. At the center of the ancient formation, there was an ancient diagram. It was the immortal extermination ancient diagram, a murderous intent that was as vast as the sea suddenly swept down, wreaking havoc towards Qi Liwei. Swoosh! Together with Qin Yu, the skeleton Ghost King also charged out. A fiery light flashed. The skeleton Ghost King appeared in front of Qi Liwei as if it had teleported. Without any superfluous moves, it threw out a punch. However, the might of the punch caused the space-time illusory world to tremble slightly, as if it was unable to withstand it. One should know that the Dragon Soul had reached the heavenly Yuan realm and had a deep understanding of the space-time Tao. Previously, Qi Liwei had not been able to shake the space-time illusory world by using a secret technique. From this, one could see how powerful the skeleton Ghost King's punch was. Fire God's incantation. At this critical moment, Qi Liwei did not dare to hold back any of his strength. He immediately gave it his all. Qi Liwei's hands moved rapidly as fiery runes appeared and formed ancient fiery words around him. Every flaming ancient character contained a mysterious power, as if the supreme fire god had descended. Rumble. The space-time ancient slaughtering array and the skeleton Ghost King clashed with Qi Liwei's ancient fiery words. An earth-shattering explosion resounded as the raging flames exploded. The space-time illusory world shook violently, as if it would collapse at any moment. Dying. In the violent flames, a fiery light parted the flames and appeared in front of Qi Liwei. Boom! Boom! The flaming ancient characters around Qi Liwei were unable to resist at all. They were directly smashed into pieces, turning into sparks and dissipating. Spare his life. Just as the skeleton Ghost King was about to kill Qi Liwei, the Dragon Soul's voice suddenly rang out. Immediately after, an extremely slow space-time energy appeared and slowed down Qi Liwei's reaction by more than 30 times. It was the Dragon Soul's space-time superpower that slowed down the space-time flow around Qi Liwei. At the Sky's Saint stage, even a moment of weakness would be fatal, let alone being slowed down by 30 times. Of course, because of the Dragon Soul's voice, Qin Yu did not let the skeleton Ghost King kill Qi Liwei with one punch. Instead, it only severely injured him and sealed his cultivation. What happened? Qin Yu asked the Dragon Soul that was refining Su Jing's dragon blood as he sent a wisp of soul power into the ancient seal of the Dragon God. Take a look at this. The dragon's soul flicked its finger and sent a memory fragment into Qin Yu's soul power. Fire God Palace, Dragon Race. A moment later, a dazzling light flashed in Qin Yu's eyes. The dragon's soul had just given him the memory of Su Jing and Qi Liwei's conversation. Therefore, Qin Yu knew that the dragon race existed in the Fire God Palace where Qi Liwei was. This naturally made Qin Yu ecstatic. He did not expect that after accidentally wandering to the fire domain, not only did he obtain the Fire Emperor's inheritance, but he also obtained clues about the dragon race. One had to know that whether it was Qin Yu or the dragon soul, refining the dragon race's blood was always the fastest way to increase their cultivation. Thinking of this, Qin Yu's figure flashed and appeared in front of Qi Liwei. He directly pulled out Qi Liwei's soul and prepared to search it and refine it. Buzz. But just as Qin Yu's soul power entered Qi Liwei's soul, a special wave suddenly surged out from Qi Liwei's soul. As if it was a chain reaction, Qi Liwei's body trembled violently. Then, a blazing red spirit rune filled Qi Liwei's body and soul. The temperature was getting higher and higher, and the void was violently surging. Not good. Qin Yu's face changed, and he immediately went into the ancient seal of the dragon god. The skeleton ghost king grabbed the ancient seal of the dragon god and quickly fled. At this critical moment, the dragon's soul, which was connected to Qin Yu, immediately dispersed the space-time ethereal world and slowed down the flow of time around the skeleton ghost king. Rumble. Almost instantly, Qi Liwei's soul and physical body exploded violently with a loud bang. They turned into thousands of strange fire gods' mantra and swept in all directions. Each fire god's incantation contained the destructive power of fire. Once touched, it would immediately explode. You're tuning into the Warrior Lore YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.